say, you're like, all right, we've won here.
Potentially, yeah, for sure.
Now, that's something to look into. These top players that are being shut down. I mean, talked about it earlier today in our pre-show. Like, yes, Soniqs are a strong team. That's the staple. They kind of developed it. We know that they're a good team. It's just getting to that, you know, the one more level that they need to head into the top internationally. That's something that takes a lot of time.
They've actually already taken a step. I know this is something we were chatting about before we went live, and they've taken a massive step forward compared to their previous events. These guys attended both Mexico and the Sweden major, but neither time did they make it out of groups. They finally changed that, and they're here in the playoffs at 6 Invitational. But can they actually take the next step above top 16? It's going to be a huge challenge for them because, like we've said, Elevate now have far more expectation.
Our maps are ready, friends. Let's bring them up on the screen. Again, 7-map pool, ban, pick, ban, decider. And could you take us through it?
Yeah, I mentioned before how Sonic said, like, oh, Cafe, we play all the maps and everything. Cafe, however, it is their insta-ban, and that will also be the first map that they decide to ban here, so that makes a lot of sense. First ban coming in for Elevate will be Coastline. It is a map that Sonic so far had a pretty poor performance on, but something that could really favor Elevate is they haven't played this map yet. Nobody knows how to play against Elevate, and that might be their stronger point.
Yeah, there's already a couple curveballs thrown in here. When we were theory crafting this map video, we thought for sure that Elevate was going to ban Chalet, but like you said, Coastline instead, and that leaves quite a few maps open. Elevate's actually going to pick Clubhouse after Soniqs pick Villa. Villa is a really curious one. I theory crafted that Elevate would ban this. It is their most banned map in the last several months since Stage 3. So Soniqs should be fairly comfortable going into that map number 1, despite us not having a lot of info on it. It's been the decider for a couple of their matches that haven't gone to map 3 so far in SI, but we don't have a ton of info on how they'll actually play that. Clubhouse, a surprising pick for Elevate to me. Really would have thought they'd go Oregon.
Yeah, I would assume so indeed. If you have then the ban coming in from Soniqs, makes sense because they ban it a lot. And then you have the option to either play Chalet or play Oregon. Well, Chalet is not necessarily a good map for Elevate, so Oregon is a great map to leave that open for a decider.
If anything, you would have thought that Elevate would actually pick Oregon. It is statistically their most won map in the last couple months. It's 14-3 is their record on that map. They even beat TSM in a close 8-7 overtime just a couple of days ago. So Elevate are coming into this, and I think that they're going to be happy with their map pick and their opponents, but Sonic should be fairly comfy on Villa.
Yeah, I mean, fairly comfy on Villa, and I do really want to talk about that decider Oregon. We talked about before about how essential it is that people don't know how to play against Elevate. It is a map that Elevate's played a lot, like you said, also in this current event, so there will be a lot of VODs, and that is a good opportunity for Soniqs to make sure that they know how to play against Elevate.
Thank you very much, friends. There's a lot of theory crafting happening here on the Analyst Desk, and that's literally what we love.
Yeah.
We love to sit here and say, okay, here's the record over the past few months, here's the record in the last week, and here's how all the players kind of shape up against one another. But James, and thank you very much always for giving us this information. We are ready to go. SSG Na'Vi, Elevate Soniqs. Let's get this game up and ready. Enjoy.
All right, thank you so much to the desk for that wonderful show. We've got Soniqs versus Elevate starting off Valentine's Day with a true certified banger, I believe is what the kids would say, Nicholas.
Absolutely, banger. And just kind of settle the tone here, we're going to a situation where, well, Villa, kind of unknown map for both teams, not a whole lot of studying can be done, but second and third map, that Oregon and Clubhouse, that's where you can kind of speak, well, Soniqs played it so many times, have experience. When you've played a map a ton of times throughout the course of a tournament, well, there's a lot of studying that can be done to kind of counterplay that. Sure, Elevate, they've played Oregon a lot in the past if you go back 3 or 4 months, but at the Invitations alone, Clubhouse has been played 3 times for Soniqs, Oregon has been played 3 times for Soniqs. So at this present moment and how teams are playing right now, Elevate, if you've done the job before the match, you have a lot of stuff to work with.
Absolutely. As was discussed about that Villa map pick, and as you just pointed out, this is a map that we have not seen a lot of from these two teams. Elevate have not played it yet, so the Soniqs don't really know what they're going to be going up against. So when I say they haven't played it, I mean at this event. Elevate have obviously played Villa outside of it.
Hopefully.
As for the Soniqs, hopefully. As for the Soniqs, a 7-3 victory over Sandbox is all they have to their name, and I don't want to put down the Korean team, but I don't think there's anything we can really glean from that Sandbox Soniqs
It's a rough
matchup.
series, right?
It was a 7-3 on Villa and then a 7-0 on Oregon. So what can we learn from it? Not entirely certain. Things already starting off quite spicy now as we go into map number 1, ladies and gentlemen, with the very first ban being a Finka ban. This is a direct target towards Grixer of all players. It's his favorite and preferred operator here, and Finka as well sees a lot of play on Villa. She's got a set of grenades, she's got a Gon 6 for clearing out some utility, some shields, any type of bulletproof gadget that you might run across. Very strong operator on top of the Adrenal Surge, which can give your team a little bit of a boost and permanent increase in HP while also picking you up if you're DBNO.
Same story for the Valkyrie and the Goyo. Both are very, very strong operators. The shields on the defense will really fortify positions, make it harder for attackers to work their way through the map. And again, same story for Valkyrie, denying information so that attackers can play more freely, and so defenders, they have to play more blindly, of course, unless you go into that Yokai, the Echo, etc. We might see some bulletproof gadgets from the side of the defenders. Those new bulletproof cams themselves have been buffed right before Invitationals. They can now shoot out an EMP, if you will, just like Thatcher, that will stop a drone dead in its tracks. You can actually turn around with the camera, granting more FOV. So quite a nice change. And you mentioned Grixer, the Finka target ban. He's plus 46, as fast and mentioned on the desk. Second right now in KD, second in overall rating, and all eyes are really on him when it comes to the sheer killing potential off the side of Soniqs. But for the interest sake, we're actually looking at Yeti. He was a player that found so many opening kills. He's plus 11 right now, I believe. And he has not just like a lot of engagements, but he also has a very high success rate in those early kill engagements as well. So 2-star players, one could argue, from Soniqs. Elevate, they have a different story on the opening kills. They got Napiu and Onigiri, and they get into a ton of fights, but they don't win them as often as Soniqs do. So I do think that the name of the game right now, if you're Elevate, is to shut down the early opening kill success from Soniqs, not deliver them a ton of early freebies. Then of course, if you can counter the heavy objective play that we see so often from them. Super, he loves to go for the plant. He loves to play that heavy objective style gameplay, and in some of their games, it's actually a problem for them because when their opponents, they counterplay it, Soniqs are left with not really any other approach to the game, and that's where they kind of fall short. Elevate, aggression, you gotta show it.
AVG, the very first bomb site now with round 1 underway, 20 seconds off of the clock. Soniqs adapting to that no Finka as Elevate banned it out, and this is a quite heavy target ban towards a lot of teams that are present at this tournament. LMGs have taken over a lot of these attacking metas, and Finka really is a big part of why. It's much easier to control the 100+ bullets of a very recoil-heavy LMG when the Adrenal Surge is on in. Grixer off of the Finka because she's not available. Instead, no Zofia, that's Kansan's role. Grixer will play on the Twitch. Even though it is an AVG defense, Nick, the main focus for Elevate right now offsite is over on Trophy Statuary. They're going to hold down that part of the map, at least for the first minute. You talk about the soft time. Well, that's exactly what just happened. Soft limit, Elevate realize after 30 seconds of playing over there, that's enough. 1 minute has been burned off the clock, and Elevate have abandoned that part of the map and headed back towards Aviator in games.
Yeah, that's often like, I feel like when Elevate's first line of defense falls, that's that triple on the Master, and that was breached open by Super. Only a single Selma charge, meaning he has 2 more left to go on that vault wall once they get to the bomb site. But now Soniqs will have to now push on through, but Nay, looking to get aggressive Rexen. He just joined this area, not sure if they heard him. Kansan, he does not seem to realize, and now Nay, if you play your cards correctly, my friend, you can get 1 or 2 kills, but so far, oh no, Discipline just takes the 1 freebie, gets a second as well. Beautiful opening, but traded back by Kansan. That's all right. Damage control has been enabled, but it's not really enough. You still lose 2 players.
And that's one of your 2 hard breachers off the board. It looked like some smoke was being done, or smoke damage was being done to Super now, losing 1/3 of his HP. Next engagement is the Jaeger of DCH playing inside a study. I don't know if whereabouts of Grixer on the window was known. Onigiri's next up. He knows that there's someone out there, and he has a perfect vantage point to do a ton of damage. Honestly, Soniqs just not realizing where these players are. Onigiri still stranded inside of study, but I say stranded because once again that Watchman quote comes up. I'm not trapped in here with you, you're trapped in here with me. And Onigiri in this position will need to be watched by one of the 2 remaining players from the Soniqs. 30 seconds to go, and it's Super with Diffuser in hand and Kansan to watch. That is the state of this round. Vault is opened up, so Super looks in this position, but there's a lot of work to be done for the Soniqs. They might be able to pull off an execute. Not a ton of time left to work with. Onigiri still in this position. Kansan's the next one in, same spot, but He engages with multiple angles. Elevate shuts him down, running their own skin on the commando. And just like that, round one on defense for the Thailand team. They'll take round one.
Yeah, and that's my bad, Napew. Honestly, I said you have a lot of early duels, but you don't seem to win them. He found 2 opening picks, absolute max, and that was Rexen and Yeti off the board. That is a very, very good opening round for Elevate, also showing that aggression, kind of setting the pace for this match to come and for this map that we're on right now, Villa. And Soniqs, if anything, kind of caught on the worst end of the timing there because the drone was coming in through Astro, it checked the staircase, then it turned around to drone further up the map for the entries, and then, well, Nay, he heard the drone most likely, walked on up, didn't really wait a whole lot, he just got the 2 kills, and that's honestly all you really need. He then aggressed further, got traded back by Kansen, could have arguably ran back through Astro, kind of been safe, but if you get 2 for 1 trade, I mean, you can kind of throw your life away after that point because that's pretty well done for you. And now in the second defense, we're working our way over to Trophy Statue instead. Very common bomb site rotation, if you will, and I expect Elevate to, as we see here, extend down below, doing a really good job with that map extension.
I'd like to issue a clarification, all thanks to good old Tommy, aka Thomas_R6, aka Tom playing on Mirage, noting that Finka is more of a Rexen ban because of the fact that Grixer likes to play Twitch and does so on Villa. So even though Grixer does play Finka on other maps, I have casted quite a lot of Soniqs this year, so I know for a fact that Finka works itself into the Soniqs lineup quite a lot. In fact, I would honestly argue that Soniqs were a little bit ahead of the curve with how much they were bringing both Finka and Lion on a lot of maps. It's more targeted towards Rexen. That's why he's been playing on this more flex support role that we've seen through these 2 rounds. And I think you can argue as to what Finka's role is in a team. Does she play flex? Does she play more of a supportive role?
Yeah.
Sometimes the main point of the spear when it comes into the building. And I don't mean that as a pun because she's not running the spear. She's running the LMG.
Yep. LMGs. It's a very good point because teams can play Finka very differently. Some teams play her more aggressively on the interest you mentioned. Some play it support because, well, if you die, then your adrenal surges, they go to the grave with you. You don't get to use them. Same story for the Thatcher, same story for the Twitch active gadgets that we get to use. That is 1 Twitch drone off the board from Napew. Not really a huge deal. I believe the Astrocam was sapped away. Breach will come through. Doesn't seem there's a whole lot of wall denier from the side of Elevate. Sure, there is the mute. When Thatcher's on the board and played, you're gonna need a bandit if you want this wall to last, or at the very least, you need a set of impact grenades. Neither is something that Elevate has. They do have Nerix down below. He does have a C4. So, Nerix, if you can find something here with the verticality, that could be a great opening to the round. Soniqs don't seem to know too well that when Nerix is down below. They did have a drone there in the prep phase, but that's a long time ago. You can guess and you can assume, but you won't know for a fact.
Still droning out over towards Aviator. Nobody's been killed just yet. 90 seconds left. That's half of the round in play. Nerix will have that pre-play C4 down below. If somebody from the Soniqs doesn't tread lightly inside of bedroom, then they'll be blown sky high by that explosive. Out goes a bulletproof camera as well. So even though the F2 in the hands of Grixer is a formidable killing machine, that drone from the Twitch also proving its worth. Team straight blows back and forth now, and the first kill goes to Kansen, but swiftly Yeti is removed. Both teams trading. But Elevate will find the scoreboard more than once, and then again get traded back. It's absolute bedlams. And a total frag fest happening as Elevate gains the upper hand, leaving Kansen with a tiny bit of HP, and Grixer as the final 2 players from the Soniqs. They're stacked up inside a Master, smoking out Nay and moving him in position towards the statue, playing at a close angle. There's a drone right next to him, but it's hard to tell if that's a Mozzie drone or one of the opponents. On a drone, Kansen goes, and it's going to be even tougher for him now. Look at how little HP he has as Grixer falls. Nay is on an absolute rampage. More shots from Nay will come out, and if Kansen doesn't look the right way, he'll get swung from the doorway. Instead, he'll take his time. 30 seconds killed off the clock, 20 seconds remain. There goes the Malusi, and Kansen's attention is towards the doorway, but this should be relatively easy for Elevate. 1 down, but 2 more to go. It is winnable, every round is, but Kansen knows how tough it can be. His position given away by the Banshee opening up, and there's Nerix from across the bomb site. He's been credited with the final kill in both rounds now, coming in clutch and playing sheltered minutes for his team. Elevate up 2-0.
Really good round for Elevate from beginning to end. They played the early game, they traded off again successfully, they got 2 for the price of 1. And in that 2 versus 3 that we saw towards the last minute of the round, they played very disciplined. And I mean, there was a point where Melusic got a little bit bored, started swinging with a pistol, ended up, almost dying. Smoke got injured and killed. But overall, really good discipline. Kind of a different Elevate from group stage, I would say, where they played extremely brutal against their opponents. It was that 8-7 win against TSM in Oregon, where they were just like playing ranked. It was basement bomb site. There was all 5 players basically up above inside of lobby and armory and whatnot, and they were just brawling, battling, fighting. No objective play was really being had, and Soniqs, they're not really managing to do the same thing either. Sure, the wall got opened up quite early, but that's the only thing you managed to do. It was a direct attack from Master Bedroom. There wasn't a whole lot of split take, if you will. They didn't clear down below. That pre-play C4 from Nerix, they had a yellow ping from the Bulletproof. And sure, the value there didn't really strike through, but the guns very much still in favor of Elevate. We're working our way through the bomb sites. AVG, Trophy, and now downstairs in Kitchen. Pulse on the board, as we can expect. C4s to follow up from Ney. That's the Mute. And then Onigiri, a little bit of a different pick here with the Castle. That's just going to speak again to how Elevate, they're stretching themselves out on this map, extending up this time around by the looks of it, up inside of Statue and Trophy, and they're going to be challenging Soniqs once again.
Well, this bomb site is below Trophy Statuary for a certain amount of real estate. Kitchen down below. Living Room Library is a bomb site that we will likely see the Soniqs play when they go on a defense, but I would be shocked if Elevate bring it as a part of their portfolio.
Oh.
The way that it currently plays, you only... Oh.
That's a normal barricade, but he aced it.
Are you sure it wasn't a castle barricade?
I am now I'm confused. So apparently it was a castle barricade, but I thought from the lighting at least it was green, but no, it was a castle barricade.
I am 100%...
It makes more sense.
You did it in your defense.
I was 99% sure.
No, you were 100% sure. And there is a public record of all the things that you say, and you can and will be dunked on.
Okay, my bad. Super is better. I take it back. Well done clearing out the utility from the castle. Remember, there is no sledge on the board from the side of Soniqs. They have to start investing their utility in the nades. Well, they can grind your kills. With the summer charge, well, that'll just breach open walls. So you gotta make that decision. Which utility do you choose to use? In a perfect world, you would use Kansen's breaching charges if the castle barricades aren't mute jammed, but again, you don't want to waste time rotating around the map, making sure that Sophia's in the right position, the right time for all 4 castle barricades. That's too much trouble and too much work, so the Selma comes out instead.
And that's only one that needs to be used. The Nitro Cell goes off. There hasn't been a ton of success with those explosives for Elevate on the few opportunities that they've had. The rest of Elevate, though, spread around that bomb site and then somewhat off. Nerix's shotgun. Oh, my goodness, of the pulse.
Yep.
You don't see that every day, but these APAC teams, they absolutely adore unconventional lineups for their operators and loadouts as well. The pulse playing with the shotgun is something that is well known about Elevate. They like to run it on Cafe as well. You can go for a hop out, get a couple picks with the M1014, hop right back in. Pulse is a very strong operator. No. There you go. There's another reason for it, is because of the caliber destruction that comes with a shotgun.
Absolutely. It's so fun to watch because we used to see this like 4 or 5 years ago in professional play. Then it was deemed useless and troll, but this time around, I mean, it really is doing the work. Onigiri, another kill on Direction, and with Kansen himself very low as well. When that Scrixer off the board, we are falling by the second.
And Kansen is the same HP that he was in this position with on the previous round. One is not where you want to be. Elevate are swinging because the other option is B swung, and they don't want to do that. So, with only a tiny bit of their HP removed from the entire team, it's Super and Kansen now looking for as many kills as they can get. Hopefully some impactful to keep this one close. Kansen immediately traded out. Onigiri has his teammates back. Super with Diffuser. Might as well be on another map. As with only 15 seconds to go, where is he going to go? Hopping in through that pantry window, up the stairs, there's a small window to the bomb site, and he doesn't know where anybody is. Good patience from Elevate, but they've got bodies to throw at the problem. The problem is Super, 2 big kills, but that's all she wrote. It's a perfect rotation for this Elevate squad. What an impressive start for them on this Soniqs map. 3-0 for the team from Thailand.
as you said, they have bodies to throw in that 1 versus 4. They're just pushing through 2 people into Super, saying, you know what, it doesn't even matter in this case. Take the KD, take the kills. You're kind of playing with the enemy's mental here, right? Elevate, they extended up above. They held Astro Trophy statue for a short moment, and once that wall was breached and taken from them, then they was down below inside of Library Living, basically playing the entire map, or as much of it as possible, because Soniqs, they're not really doing what they usually do when they find success. And then it's often you'll find Yeti halfway across the map in the opposite direction of the primary source of his team, just kind of ratting around, as we say, taking map control and flanking opponents, and that's where Yeti has most of his opening kills from. He's not a typical entry, he's more of like a lurking entry. They haven't done it so far, and it certainly hasn't worked. Whatever it is they have been doing, it's been direct takes, limited takes, and against Elevate, I mean, if they play the map, you gotta match their tempo, otherwise you'll always be just a little bit more poor, as they have all the wealth.
That's a very early timeout to burn, as you talked about. That's what we're waiting on now. Joe Bro in the background can prep his team as best as he wants, and you've got one of the best strategic minds in Rainbow Six in Super. But even then, that doesn't always translate to success. There was an interesting conversation that went on in the green room today before we got into this matchup, and it was a discussion about respect. Respect involving some of the teams here at the event that are not getting the praise and I guess commendation that they deserve. We talk an awful lot about TSM. We talk an awful lot about Space Station and how historically good they are at LANs. TSM obviously the top finishing performer at SI. Last year they finished 4th. We talk about Space Station, former world champions. But the fact is that the Soniqs were the most consistent team in North America this year. The Soniqs are the defending NAL champs. So not even in those 3 stages were the Soniqs the best, but they also closed it out with a victory on their own land. Yeah. But it wouldn't seem to be the case. And I think a big part of that is the poor performance that the Soniqs have had in both Mexico as well as Sweden, going out in groups despite setting high expectations. And another part of it plays into the fact that the Soniqs are so openly vocal on Twitter. It's really easy to root for a team's downfall when they do sort of play that villain. And Super is perhaps one of the most notable villains, if you want to call him that, in the scene. But the Soniqs have really impressed here at this event. I think they've continuously proven us wrong. They've struggled to close out some games, but there's been signs of brilliance, and they've competed with the best of the best so far, maybe not in the same level of domination. So when they come up against a team like Elevate, a team that is also chronically, I guess you could say, underperforming, but also unexpected and underrated, it is interesting to see the way that the discourse goes around them. If I remember correctly, at the start of this matchup, people said that Elevate was the team to beat. That's what the community vote said. And so far, they're proving them right. Soniqs, if they do want that level of respect, they need to be consistent on land. They haven't been up to this point against a team like Elevate. This is a must-win for Soniqs if they want to be in that upper echelon of the teams that we talk about at international events.
I absolutely agree. And well, they might have heard your praise, Parker, because Yeti finds not just 1, he finds 2. That is Nerix and Onigiri both off the board. Again, that's the Wamai, that's the Mute, and more importantly, Soniqs for the first time actually has the first half of the round in their favor. They've done the hard job of now finding 2 picks. Now we gotta convert those opening kills into a round victory. That is something that the Soniqs, they can do well sometimes, if anything, but this time around, they'll really have to try and do it. Because if not, it's 4-0. Sure, it's Villa defense, but you want to make sure you get as many rounds as possible before the side swap comes through.
Ooh, that's a nasty shot from DCH on the Grixer. And Grixer had a sixth sense about it. He knew it was coming. He was surveying the window, but just because you know it's there doesn't mean you can stop it. A lot of times, you see that train barreling down on you, and just because you know it's there, you're probably not going to be able to get out of the way in time. So even though the Soniqs get this opening pick, what is their conversion? This was something that the Soniqs struggled on a lot in the group stages. They get the first pick. They even get the plant down, but then they don't win the round. That mid-round to late-round conversion is the biggest issue for the Soniqs. This round will be a test. They start off strong. They have an advantage. Do they hold on to it and finally win a round?
On average, Soniqs' rate is actually 68% round conversion from the opening kill. That's extremely average. The one thing that Soniqs do good is that they do get 57% of the rounds the opening kill, which is top 2.
Yeah, so the fact that they're able to consistently get that first pick, but then they only convert it 2/3 of the time, not great, especially when the stat that we always reference in terms of opening pick is about 80%. So they are trailing what is considered to be average to good. That said, look at this. They got those first 2 picks. They'll manage to isolate one player, but then Yeti gets dropped as he hucks a nade on in. DCH goes down as Rexon tears on through. 2 players up right from Elevate. Smoke's going out. Super on the diffuser, and it is a successful plant. That's Nay now on the flank. Tons of damage done to Super, and there's a blind spot to be exploited. It's a 2v2. Make that a 2v1 now. Kansan's the only member upright. Elevate sweeping right back through, and the shotgun is there. No, they pull it off. What did we talk about when it comes to conversion, Nick? The Soniqs get the opening pick. They get the first 2 picks. They get the diffuser planted, but they don't get the round. Just like that, they get their kills. They have tons of time. You might as well pad your stats. They don't let Yeti bleed out, and it's Elevate up 4-0.
So, just for conversation's sake, Elevate actually has the highest opening kill conversion on the attacking side. Not the defending side where they are now, even though they've gotten all 4 rounds, but on the attacking side, Elevate, when they get the opening kill, they have an 84% chance of winning the round on their attack. That's extremely high. The average is about 65, so almost 20% higher than the average here at SI.
What did you say the Soniqs was, 68?
68.
So the Soniqs are about average, as you pointed out, literally, like right on the average. And I know that to a lot of people, the difference between 68 and 80% doesn't seem like a lot, but that might be enough for 1 or 2 rounds on each half. That can be huge.
Yep. And I mean, sure, there is opening kill on attack, and there's opening kill on defense. They play a bit differently, so you can look at average stats, you can look at only attacker or only defender sided. But the point is simple. When you get the opening kill and you play that 5 versus 4 in your favor, you need to be able to close out the round, because what it means if you can't is that, sure, you can find the first pick, but then you cannot pull all the way through. And when you have the man advantage, your numbers go up automatically. And one of the earliest telltale signs of teams failing this is that they're giving up bodies for free. Let's say you're playing 5 versus 4 and you're trading 1 for 1. Well, that's 4-3. 1 for 1, that's 3-2. And you know, ultimately it'll be 1 against 0, you win the round. If you can successfully manage to continuously trade bodies once you have established the advantage, you will win the round. So if you can find the opening pick, but you cannot find the round, it speaks to isolation of players and failing to play off each other and ensure to really keep on that advantage. So some teams here, they'll get the opening pick and get the round, some they will not, and some they won't get either. But what you need to be practicing is just playing together. And when you see Soniqs playing 4 or 5 players on the same side of the map, you would expect them to get each other's back. But no cover for Super. He gets taken off the board. Not the only hard breach, but the most important.
And has been the main hard breach for his team, Nick. That is not ideal. Good news is that Yeti holds on to the diffuser, and he was involved in the first skirmish in the previous round. Yeti got 2 picks. Didn't end up mattering. This time, again, Elevate goes back to something they know very well. A 5v4. They have the opening pick in 4 of these 5 rounds. Yeti almost gets team killed there, by the way. And look at how much damage that gun does. Half
that's
HP
1 bullet.
From 1 bullet. That is correct. Another trophy statuary defense. Elevate now with the Nitro Cell. And there goes Yeti, beautifully tossed out, and it connects. This is dire for the Soniqs. They have lost both of their hard breach.
Yep.
Where do you go on a bomb site like Trophy Statuary? Now you're very limited. If you're not going to spread out, you're going to have to take Astro and go from there, and there's only single doorways and a potential single rotate hole in a wall that allows you access.
You go next. It's very simple.
Where do you go?
You go next. Like, this round is over on paper. Sure, Soniqs can clutch up. Grixer doing a really good rotation here to 90. That's what I want to see from Soniqs. Not at 5 players on the same side of the map, but when you've lost both Heart Breachers, when you've lost 2 players, when you're down 0-4 in round count, it's a little bit late. And now, Grixer, you really gotta show up. You are the 2nd highest performer at this entire event, and right now, you're going 1-4 against Elevate.
Oh!
Nice.
Nirix makes Kansan see the inside of his own thoughts with that one. He spoke ill of Grixer, Nick, and there he is to pick up 1 kill. 1 minute to go with him and Rexon as the 2. But Rexon gets out-dueled. Nirix is on fire right now. He's killing everybody in the server. So Grixer, with all of his might, has to do more of that work. 2 kills for him. He's stat padding 3 kills for Grixer. All of a sudden, the Soniqs are in this because of that Twitch. But it's going to have to be a kill fest. Diffuser is down. And case control for Elevate is all that matters. There's a shotgun pointed at the wall. Grixer goes to walk in. It's a single swing, and he looks the wrong way. The Banshee distracts him. We call that siege timing, folks, because of exactly what you just saw. 2 rounds after the Sonics took their time out, they don't have anything to show for it. Elevate are putting on a clinic, and they're up 5-0.
I was saying, oh no, not because I don't want Grixer to win a round, but because Elevate and APAC as a region, they have this really bad habit that when they're in the lead, they get really cocky and overconfident. When you're up 4-0 in a 1 versus 4, I mean, you saw it. They're just swinging, running around, unnecessarily moving, and what could have been very quickly 1 versus 1 that could have gone either way. Well, they got closed out in the 2v1 due to siege timing, a Banshee giving off a sound cue, and of course, Grixer choosing to look away at the wrong moment. Now we see 6-pick coming out. We go from Speed to Castle on the side of Onigiri, and Grixer goes from Sledge to Nuke. I love this. This kind of speaks to the playstyle that Yeti really does well on Coastline for Sonics, lurking around the map.
Oh, they trade out the Twitch over to Rexen as well. This target ban towards the Sonics might have been one of the best things that Elevate could have done. Without the Finka, this attack from Sonics has been sputtering. It is not good at all. They look at the kills on the team right now. I mean, the thing that's going to pop out the most is Grixer's 4 and 5, but he was 1 and 4 previously.
Yeah.
He picked up 3 kills in the last round, but they were completely meaningless. This is one thing that we talk about, and is a perfect teaching moment for a lot of you that are watching. You're going to look at it and say, well, at least Grixer showed up, which, based on the numbers, might be the thing to see if you don't know the context behind it. But those were unimpactful kills. They did not help the team at all. Grixer getting 3 desperation kills in a losing effort might as well be 0, frankly. There's really no difference between Grixer getting those 3 kills with the timer where it was and the case where it was between a flawless round. So even though it's a valiant effort by Grixer, those kills don't really matter. So it's just stat padding at this point, which is why it sometimes needs a deeper look than just a basic number. Oh, somebody went 12 and 4. Yeah, but if 3 of those rounds are 1v4s and you kill 3 of them, you lose all those rounds, you get 9 kills in losing efforts, not as impactful.
So true. And it's something that, very important that we gotta look at. And also, I mean, it's not just Grixer. Elevate, almost every single round they've had like a substantial man count advantage. They've been running 1 or 2 bodies into the ground onto the side of Sonic. So half the kills here are basically impactless, as you mentioned. And I will say, opening round, Sonics, they haven't died yet. They survived the early C4. They've made their way onto the balcony, and Grixer is making his way through Red Hallway on the 1st floor. Good timing. We're going to be sitting out, waiting for that gadget to recharge. Want to make sure that nobody has information. Nerix has the pulse. Once you get too close to the side, you surely will be seen with that heartbeat scanner. But that's also why Grixer is not approaching the side directly, but from the flank. Gets some damage through, does not find the kill, and now his position has been revealed. That's not good.
That's a Nook that has now been visible. Down goes Nay, and Grixer manages to catch DCH. All right, a much better effort for Sonics on this round. Half of it gone, and you've picked up 2 players. But this was the same position that the Sonics were in before. Difference is that it wasn't now a 5v2. The best round from Sonics. They had to throw out the script and completely change up their composition, and it comes at a time when you still don't have that timeout. You've already used it. Now, you can manage to win one round, go on a defense on Villa. That will help you, presumably, but you've already given up so much ground.
That you have, and I mean, Elevate, they're gonna have the mental advantage. We all know what that means when you're from APAC. It can be very hard to shut down their aggression and their confidence. And sure, I mean, this round, Grixer specifically did a really good job. 2 opening kills, and now Grixer, with a triple kill of his own, looks to walk through side. Sapper says no to Yeti. Finds 1 kill, but Sapper, you're also low on health with people coming from all angles at once. You're even gonna get Sophia concussed at the same time, and you really can't do much. 4K for Grixer, and that right there are impactful kills versus the last round of being impactless.
Absolutely, and that's the whole purpose of why you run a Nook. On a map like Villa, you have a great entry point. If you don't think there's going to be a pulse down below in the catacombs in the basement, then you can very easily enter from the bottom floor, head up one of the staircases. You're not going to make any noise. There's only a couple cameras that are going to be in those positions, and it's a moot point because you're invisible to them when your gadget is going. So why not take that operator? I like that from the Sonics, but it comes so late. They pick up a single round. 4-2 is the scoreline that we see on maps that have a distinct advantage on either attack or defense. If you've got a closely matched group of players, group of teams, and you've got a very closely matched map, aka they match up very well on that actual map. They have the same map pool. Then a 3-3 half is totally normal. But here on Villa, Elevate going up 5-1 puts them in excellent position for this half. They still have their timeout. There isn't a ton of confidence or motivation mentally on the side of Soniqs. And as you pointed out, these APAC teams, they are very hard to knock off their game when they are mentally rolling. And right now, you absolutely look at the Elevate players and the way that they're playing, and there's a ton of confidence on their side. The only thing that you have to caution them on is getting a little bit too cute. Because if you roam a little bit too much, you start taking too many gambles, you start playing too many unique operators, go for spawn peaks, play loose and detached, think, you know what, I can beat just about anybody.
Yeah.
Not the case. There's too many foes on the Soniqs that are very credible threats, and if you give the Soniqs an inch, they're going to start making you pay for it.
Certainly, and Elevate, they haven't played Villa at this event. Soniqs are not going to have the greatest idea of what to expect, really. On this first round of operator picks, we actually saw Nay, I believe, Nay 6-picked from the Ying onto the Ashe, and they were showing that Dokkaebi on Nerix. So Soniqs, they might have a slight idea what chaos might be unfolding, but in fact, the game has been changed up. Really good early aggressive entry from Elevate, Drone, and Ashe behind them, kind of like Liquid and Nest did back in the day, but this Banshee will stop you in your tracks. Also, Rexen, good job extending out, denying the early drone. Astra post support on top of that too. With this wall being reinforced, the angle onto him will be denied. And Elevate have to kind of respect this position and slow it down a bit. Nice clear on the Banshee. That was the window rappel player activating the gadget, not Nay on the staircase. So Rexen might not know there are indeed two players here, but in fact, there are. He has support of his own, but that is Rexen to fall. Nerix holding that boar window from the 90 repel. That's a very, very passive angle, but oh boy, does it pay off in their favor. And now, that means you can walk on in if you're Nerix with that Dokkaebi, and you can hack this phone from Rexen. That's going to give you even more value than just an opening kill. You'll hack every single cam, but Yeti answers back. Onigiri off the board, Ayana. Not the biggest loss on this round, but still, even spec the man count to 4-4. Something to note, there are 2 bulletproof cameras from Soniqs, so with this hack, crazy value.
And there you go, and there's the hack that comes in now. So you can see clear as day, they've got control of the cam, and it's gone. So now you have to destroy that utility from the Soniqs.
Yeah.
You specifically run these operators so that you can have a bulletproof camera. Valkyrie is banned. If you don't bring the bulletproof, the only other thing for direct intel that you're going to want is a Maestro on the board, but that's not really an operator that the Soniqs play on this map. So you bring the bulletproof cameras, 2 of them, now they're completely useless.
Yeah.
They're actually worse than useless because they can be used against you. The Soniqs very rightly take care of them. That's a very damning blow. So that leaves Elevate in a position where they're now at even numbers. They've lost Onigiri, as we talked about. They've got 1 minute to go. Last Logic Bomb is gone as well. So for Nerix, all he's got access to are those flashbangs. He can toss them on into the bomb site. The ADSs will still persist, even if Rexen is not in play. But Elevate need to scramble. 30 seconds, that's what they're working with. Doesn't look like they've opened anything up on the study side because Yeti is still in possession of that room, playing at the top of the stairs. He gets called into action from the barbed wire being broken at the bottom. That's Nay's advance to go on up. Smoke in front of Sapper will slow him down, and Elevator's struggling as to where they want to go with this. If they walk in and start frying, then the Soniqs need to answer back. But at the moment, this is a better round for the Soniqs than many we've seen so far. Elevate, you've got 5 seconds to go. Where are you? There goes Kansan. You need to get the diffuser down. You're wasting time. Sapper is in. Super saves the round. What an incredible performance, despite the fact that only 2 players for up from the Soniqs. That is Elevate beating themselves in that round. And despite such a strong start, the conversion is not there, and the Soniqs take their 2nd round in a row.
Super really holding on. He didn't do much, but it was honest work. He hit on that bar until the right moment, then swung around, saw that the player pushed from Elevate, took him out. That was the fuse on the ground. Time hit 0. You win. Good job for you. Yeti held top main the entirety of that round. Very well done as well. They had a little bit of map control, but they had just enough. Elevate running down the clock, not progressing fast enough. And well, when you get that massive value of the opening kill with the Dokkaebi, you're really gonna feel a little bit bad about that. Nerix, he brings it again, and Soniqs. Fun fact, also for you viewers at home, when you play defense and there's a Dokkaebi on the attacking side, when you die, you actually drop a physical small phone on the ground. So, if you're roaming in duos of 2, you can then, if somebody dies, the other person can kill the drone, or kill the phone rather, and therefore you cannot hack them anymore. You can throw an impact, throw a C4, you can melee it, you can shoot it. It's a small object on the ground. It's a lot easier to find nowadays with the dead bodies are disappearing rather than staying. But basically, if you're roaming alone, you're in for a bad time. If you're roaming together, well, you can kind of reduce the damage that you get that can be done to you. And there we see 1 bulletproof from Grixer. So if the hack goes through, you will once again lose a little bit of utility.
It's actually a surprising amount of players don't know this.
Yeah.
So if you play Dokkaebi, you need to make sure that you're getting to the body quick enough because, yes, you as a defender can shoot the phone. Also, fun fact, if one of your teammates dies early on, if you team kill them and a phone drops, you know they have a Dokkaebi. Not that I'm advocating for you. Not that I'm advocating for you to team kill by any stretch of the imagination. That's not allowed.
That's a fun fact.
But if they drop a phone, you know there's a Dokkaebi in play. So maybe.
Just like you can see the lion drone in the sky, right, you know, basically in the prep phase when the enemy attackers are droning, you can see if lions being played because the, you know, the gadget will be in the air. So there's a couple of interesting, you know, mechanics interactions, if you will, from certain or multiple operators, and it's something that does it really matter? Not really. But when you want to get into that nitty-gritty, it's nice to know, it's useful, and in this case, at the highest level of play, of course you'd expect that everybody knows everything, but let me tell you, not every single player knows the same things, nor do they play the game the same way. We all have content pros. Some people are more mechanically talented, some people are more brainiacs, such as Super, Geek IQ, average gunplay. Some would argue less than average gunplay. Grixer, probably the opposite. Maybe not the smartest, but extremely talented on that gunplay and mechanical skill. Now, I don't know for sure, so don't take that for a fact, but my point is, everybody's a little bit different.
Absolutely correct. Elevate had that round in the palm of their hands, and then they loosened their grip on it, and the Soniqs, despite losing most of their own players, are still able to hang on. That was Elevate beating themselves. Again,
yeah.
Both of these teams now struggling with conversion to some extent. Soniqs still the team that historically has failed to close out a lot of these rounds, but if Elevate gets themselves in another position or two where they get the early pick, they have map control, and they ultimately fall short in the round, then we have to level the same thing against them as we have the Soniqs.
Yeti playing down below. Well, it is close to bomb site. It's bomb site. I'm sorry, it is down below. Bomb site is in trophy, excuse me. That means that Yeti's doing what he does best. He is playing 1 floor away from the bomb site on the defending side. That's kind of where he finds a ton of success, but the droning from Elevate has been quite good. The timing, however, has not been as, and Yeti not just burns down the clock, he also gets a kill onto Napew. That's Diana once again off the board.
Both of these teams struggling with that early aggression and the roam as well. And the shotgun of Super is a little bit too long range. Elevate very swiftly take it back. They've now traded with Kansan picking up 1 kill for his team. Yeti's still down below. Sapper getting the diffuser off. Nitro Cell goes out. It's nowhere near close, and the logic bomb will alert the remaining players of Elevate where the Soniqs are from. Diffuser down, so clock working in their favor. The 2 final players from the Soniqs will need to retake. Everybody on Elevate has taken some damage, but there goes Grixer, and Kansan's the only one to save it. He's got 2 kills for his team, Yeti has the other, but he's not here. There's the last logic bomb. Perfectly timed. Flash is still available for Nirix as well, so if you want to blind Kansan, just even buy some time, you can do that. And he's running out of that time that we talked about. He has no intel. Elevate playing keep away. The clock getting closer and closer to the point of no return, and with 1 second to spare, Kansan is on it. He pops off. That's the clock, and that's the kill. Elevate sit on match point.
What a discipline. I am impressed and I am surprised because I did not expect this. They push the aggressive button when they have to. Elevate did a really good job. When Yeti was found down below, they pushed to the bomb site. They had a brief moment of advantage, traded back to even ground 3-3, got down that diffuser because Soniqs, they didn't have much bomb deny. C4 came out, it went kind of wide, it didn't find any damage, or at least didn't find the kill onto the planter, and that's what they needed because post-plant is so difficult, but it only is difficult if the attackers can play the post-plant amazingly or perfectly. That's what Elevate did. They, well, 1 personal phase, pushed into a trophy, got the map control, he got taken down, they traded. That leaves you in a 1v2, but the last 2 players from Elevate were sitting all the way back. 1 deep in Astro, 1 deep inside of Master, and he just waited for that time to take down. Even a logic bomb came out from Dokkaebi, so they knew the whereabouts of that last Soniqs player, and I mean that seals the deal. We now got the same bomb site rotation, but kind of in a different terms of success, right? ABG, Trophy, Kitchen. Elevate, they found the first 3 defensive sides as well as the first 3 opening kills. On the side of Soniqs, they've gotten 1 opening kill and they've lost 1 opening kill and they've only managed to find 1 round so far. Match point for Elevate. And they want to show if they can break all 3 bomb sites, or at the very least break 2 of them. They got a lot of rounds to go. And Elevate, well, you can make mistakes.
The thing that's really dire is the Soniqs don't have a timeout.
They don't.
They don't.
You gotta just go for it.
Taken all the way back at the tail end of round number 3, the Soniqs burned the only opportunity they would have to keep themselves somewhat composed after a series of bad losses. And I will say that this map in particular is a series of bad losses. Elevate on a map that they have not played at this event, up against a Soniqs team that picked Villa for a reason, and a very good reason. Say what you will about Soniqs in the actual server, behind the scenes, you are hard-pressed to find 2 individuals who are more knowledgeable and more prepared of their opponents than Super and Joe. But the thing is it doesn't matter, because Elevate, despite the fact that people are sleeping on them, and there's not a lot of information about this team, this is their first big international event, they are performing mighty, mighty good. And this Elevate team, this is not going to be the first North American team that they've beaten either. They've yet to lose to an NA squad here at the event. It sounds like the first logic bomb goes off, and the Soniqs will fall back. 1 minute down, Rexen and Yeti in the basement on a deep roam. If you're Elevate, isolate them. Try to find where they are and get a pick off of it. There's no conventional anti-flank operator on Elevate's side of things, so somebody's going to have to do that job on their own.
They didn't just beat the North American teams, they 2-0 Dark Zero 7-4-8-7, they 2-0 TSM 7-5-8-7 as well. So OT, they can play it, and Soniqs, they want to go there. Kansen finds Onigiri. He's been the first to fall from Elevate quite some time now, and that is the stat we spoke about earlier. Onigiri and Napiu, they get into a lot of duels, and they tend to lose them quite often, and right now, that's showing.
Well, that was inside a memorial, and now in goes the Twitch drone to clear out some utility, as Nierix will follow up on what intel he has. The recoil of the SMG-12 soars high above the panel, and he'll sit on the stairs to wait. That deep roam from the Soniqs has pushed Yeti up to the top floor. The other player that we were looking at in terms of this play, Rexen, we don't know where he is. Where is he on the map? He's inside of the bomb site now. Super spotted out, now droned in over by Laundry. There's still some Kona stations up. Yeti is down. He's been spotted by the Dogobi. Super goes as well. Grixer with 1. Kansen's been dropped. This is a bad position to be in for the Soniqs, knowing that they are just a couple deaths away from defeat on their map. Elevate have time to work with, but DCH is looking the wrong way, and Rexen says, why not? I'll take that one. Grixer on half HP. Kansen still unrecoverable. Elevate pushing up through Memorial. They've managed to isolate the last 2 players in the back of the bomb site, make that player as it's Grixer, and he gets the Kona station to heal him back along with a kill. It's all on the shoulders of Nay, who's down below, very far from the action. He'll head up the stairs. He's got a lot of work to be done. Diffuser held. Grixer getting back to the site. Nay is now in the midst of it with that diffuser in hand. He'll go for the plant. Grixer waiting for the call. And there's the push up. 7 seconds to go. No opportunity for a fake here. Grixer playing off of it. 1 second left, but he doesn't know where it is. He finds him at the last second. And Grixer has been spectacular for this team for a couple of rounds. And if the Soniqs are going to go to overtime, they need more rounds like that from him.
That's going to give you some good mental. You found that round, and you can argue it went back and forth, and it shouldn't have been as close as it was from the side of Soniqs, but Grixer manages to secure it. 6-3. I will say, Nay could have started faking out that plan significantly earlier than he did. It looked like he was kind of face into the furniture, couldn't actually get the prompt, had to step a bit back, but it took him 2 seconds or so to really figure it out, and you saw there at the time, it punished him because the timer hit 0. Grixer played around it correctly. He waited at that reinforced wall, waited so that, you know, the opposing player couldn't get off it, and then just swing, get the fast kill. Well done for Grixer. But yeah, Elevate, you gotta start playing the clock a little bit faster. When they get aggressive, they really get fast, but they do have this moment of kind of waiting around. I'm curious if that's intentional, because you have the Dogobi. Of course, if you get the pick, you get the phone, and then you get that huge advantage. But maybe it's time to start considering just go fast and then continue going fast. You got the kills, you got the players for it. Sapper, 11 kills. Nerix, 10 of his own. Onigiri actually getting onto IQ of all operators. Very interesting. You got the Dogobi, that means that if you get an opening kill, you hack the phones, you see where the cameras are, all the information. Now you got the IQ as well. Maybe this speaks to some verticality. It is possible. Kitchen is locked. That means that if Soniqs were to go down below, it would have to be Library, which is less common, but it is indeed AVG. Couple of options for Elevate. We'll see what they choose to do.
We have seen Library and Living Room pop up a couple times here at the event on Villa, but middling success as far as I can recall. That's just based off of the eyesight test. It'd have to be the actual bomb stats for these teams, and of course, team being the key word here. Soniqs have only played 10 rounds on Villa against Sandbox. We'd like to remind you that despite the score at the top of your screen, Elevate have not played this map here at the Six Invitational. But guess what? It doesn't really seem to matter that much. They rode high on defense and now on attack. Again, those 2 rounds that the Soniqs won was Elevate in a lot of ways beating itself. And I know Soniqs fans might not like hearing that, but on rounds 7 and 9, it wasn't so much superiority from the Soniqs, but an inadequacy on the attack from Elevate. They are struggling to find their footing in the final 30 seconds. And conversion rates for teams after they get the opening pick has been a focal point, and it will continue to be so. Grixer sees the real Yana. That is not a Gemini. How do you win that fight? Nay with a drop shot on the Grixer. The best player from the Soniqs is now out of action. All it took was a single logic bomb, yet he's gone now too. The Soniqs in tough position. They'll have to spend half of the round in a 3v5.
As we slow down right now, I think Elevate are gonna take a breather. They got time for once here, and they got 2 opening picks. I got the statistics. Villa has a 52% overall defensive win rate. Living Library has been played 11 times. It has a 9% win rate. Absolutely horrendous. Nerix, however, is absolutely clean. That's smoke off the board and super as well, leaving Rexen and Kansen in a 2 versus 5 to keep their team alive.
That means that of the 11 times it's been played, it's been won by the defense a single time. 10 rounds for the attackers on Living Room Library. Not exactly a great bomb site. When I said middling success, I guess I was
wrong.
I guess I was technically correct. So, we've now got that breather that you talked about. The final minute. The Soniqs have only 2 players upright, but both Sapper and Nay are so low on HP that this could very quickly swing into a 2v3 for the Soniqs. Rexen is keen to take that engagement, but he doesn't see that Nay is at the top of the stairs, and it's all left on Kansen. How about a flawless stamp on map 1? A shocker, to be sure. Elevate comes in, and again, they best expectations. 7-3. Here they go. And just like that, Elevate take map 1 quickly and set themselves up for Clubhouse in a great spot.
It's going to be a funky series, I think, because we're seeing things we either haven't seen before or just aren't used to seeing. Whether it's the Dokkaebi being played consistently on Villa, that's a long time ago since that meta has been around, but also pull shotgun of all things. I'm excited for Clubhouse to see what these teams will bring out, or more, what Elevate will bring out, because Soniqs, they're on a tight ship. They love to play against the objective on Clubhouse. They love to play for plants. Something they couldn't really find much of on Villa. They couldn't find much success in their attacks at all, to be frank. They'll have to do that differently on Clubhouse because you need to win more than just the defending rounds to win the map.
Well, that's it for us here on map number 1. We've still got a lot more to play. After this matchup, the winner goes on to face Damwon Kia, which I know that you win the map, but having to play Damwon Kia next is definitely not a win for either of these teams. Damwon Kia has looked like, if not the strongest team at the tournament, the top 2, along with, I'd say, probably Liquid. So you don't really have a lot to look forward to, and you don't have a ton of rest until your next matchup. The Soniqs are in tough at the moment. They lose their map pick, and now on Clubhouse coming up, Elevator going to look for the knockout blow. Sit tight, we have a break, and then we'll be back with map number 2. All right, we're back with map number 2 between Elevate and Soniqs, a team from Thailand versus a team from North America that consists entirely of North Americans. Right now, the Soniqs are in a bad spot, and Elevate are a single map away from ensuring that they make a slightly deeper run here in the upper bracket, but not all hope is lost for you Soniqs fans. Remain faithful, because there is still a lower bracket to go through. 2 teams have been pushed down to the lower bracket so far today. Those occurred in our earlier matchups. I'm not going to spoil the results for you, and I'm not going to spoil the results of what's going on in the other stream. By the way, Na'Vi versus Space Station are squaring off if you want to go over there and give them a watch. But let's go back to Villa for a second here, Nick. This is what we're looking at in terms of the match summary. The Soniqs took 3 rounds, but 2 of those rounds, I think it's fair to say, came because of Elevate's own stumbles, not necessarily better play from the Soniqs.
No, absolutely. And I mean, we look at the scoreboard, there's going to be actually interesting enough. Soniqs, well, I guess it's not interesting. Their cost wasn't the highest. I mean, that's what happens when you lose, also 2. They didn't really play that far together. They were relying on individual kills and whatnot. Grixer, of course, he clutched a 1 versus 1. So that 1 kill grants you a full round. Amazing, incredibly high value. And then we just saw Elevate kind of running into Soniqs when they had a significant man advantage and not really caring about their own KDs. And I mean, they still did really good. +7, +8, +2, then -3, and then +1 from Onigiri. So overall, a very positive start for Elevate. But Villa and Clubhouse as maps, they play very differently. And you said, well, if you're a Soniqs fan, don't worry, there's a lower bracket, blah, 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 whatever. But you also have 2 of your biggest comfort maps coming up if you're Soniqs. You have Clubhouse, which you've played 3 times, and Oregon, which you've played 3 times. They've lost them both once, and they've won them both twice. And the 2 times that they did indeed lose were like 8-7s or 8-6s. It was crazy daisy overtime, very close games, which means Soniqs are obviously extremely well versed in these 2 maps. Inside of Elevate, well, going into Clubhouse, they have 1 victory so far. It's against BDS. It was a 7-2 victory for them, but that doesn't say a lot, and that's kind of weird to say because BDS is like one of the best teams in the world, but we all know what happened. They had a very unfortunate run here at Invitationals. There was some, first of all, lack of a player. Rafael unfortunately couldn't play for a while. Bio stood in as a coach. Then when Rafael came back, well, they just never really found their footing. So saying that you beat BDS 7-2 in Clubhouse, does it really have a lot of value? I'm not sure.
Yeah, this BDS squad did not look good at all of it. Now, obviously, there were extenuating circumstances for their first 2 matchups, but frankly, BDS didn't look that much better after that, right? They bring on Rafael, they have their full squad again, and it doesn't really matter. The first team to go home are one of the teams that many people had going to the Final Four. A BDS-less SI. Feels kind of strange, but this is the landscape that we're in right now. Either Elevate or Soniqs will go down to the lower bracket. The winner faces off against Damwon Kia at the end of the day. That is a tough shout. Damwon Kia have been so strong, so even if you win here, you're not exactly getting a great prize because you're going up against a very tough foe. Elevate starting on defense here on Clubhouse, and guess what? They liked how much of a hindrance that Finka ban was against the Soniqs on Villa, so they're going to do it again. Run it back again. Get rid of the Finka, handicap the Soniqs, and go from there.
Makes perfect sense. I mean, it worked before, try it again, and ultimately, I mean, what else are you going to ban? Because Soniqs, they've already kind of done the work for you in the sense that, well, Thatcher's off the board. That leaves Maverick open, both teams can play it, Valkyrie follows along, same story as Villa, same story as most maps, and to finish it all off, it's Wamai. And the reason why teams have started banning Wamai more and more is because if you do not, and the defenders play both the Jaeger and the Wamai together, that really challenges the synergy, coordination, and communication of the attacking side, and it can be very frustrating to deal with, right? So by taking off one of those 2 operators, but typically the Wamai, you ensure that once you go on the attacking side, when you Elevate, it's going to be easier to clear shields, to clear utility, etc. And we know that Soniqs, they play a very good utility game. Right now on the board, we see the operators as well as the bomb site. That is Jim. Now remember, the attackers, they do not see the bombs that they're attacking. That is just a spectator thing. But everybody right now are seeing each other's operators. You do have that 6 pick available, And so far, it seems like nobody will use it. That means this will be a true round, if you will.
I also want to add one thing to that conversation that you just had, the point you made about Jaeger and Lamai. Don't sleep on Aruni either. She functions very similarly in terms of the fact that you need to use at least some form of gadgetry to take out those laser gates. Yeah, you can throw a drone through it, but you also will likely see teams throw flashbangs. You might see a Zofia try to waste utility there. If not, and you run through that gate, you take damage. And with the way that these teams play and the way that grenades have been so prevalent and how you're often playing around now at 50% of your HP, that laser gate can be quite strong and works as good denial. Now, you don't always see teams run Jaeger, Lamai, and Aruni all at the same time. Usually you've got one of the operators banned. It's Lamai that tends to get the ban the most. But still, synergy, like in terms of synergy, they are very synergistic, if you want to call it that. So something to keep in mind.
Speaking of things you don't see very often, Onyx here is running Lesion Shotgun. And it's not because it's the only shotgun. They have Mirror Shotgun, they have Mute Shotgun, they have Lesion Shotgun, and they have Ney on the Goyo with the TCG. So they have like 4 shotguns right now from the side of Elevate, but it's a gym defense. Typically a medium to long range bomb site. Sure, you're playing inside of Cash Room, but the walls will get opened up, and then you create a very long angle, and the shotgun becomes, well, you gotta use your pistol. We all know pistols, they aren't that great.
There's the 4 shotguns, 3 primary shotguns.
Yeah.
The way Sapper's running a primary shotgun, Goyo's running a primary shotgun, and Onigiri is as well. Nerix is the secondary shotgun. So when you say Mira shotgun, I know most people will instinctively think of her secondary, but there is that ITA shotgun that comes on these 2 Spanish operators that is also quite a strong weapon. So worry not. A bit of normalcy there. The Vector with its high rate of fire is going to be in the hands of Nerix. In terms of this defense, being at gym and bedroom, it's unsurprising to see the map control for Elevate extend out towards Cash and especially CCTV.
Very standard stuff.
The Goyo lurks below. Look at this. Ney in this position with the ACOG. Rexon is above. Kansan is above. If they pop up, a single shot from Ney, providing that he can be a good shot, will be enough to drop them.
Well, he goes up the ladder. The flank is coming through. Ney goes up the ladder. He can make a huge flank. He gets one. Doesn't know the second guy. Falls back. That's very well done. He got the 1 kill he needed. That's also the ace off the board. Very high value kill, but Soniqs, they played triple Heartbreach. It's the ace, the Thermite, and the Maverick. So, of course, less value than normal, but this also allows you to buy more time for your player inside of Cash. That's DCH on the Jaeger.
DCH out of that COVID isolation. He's now competing with the same team, or the team on the actual stage. We saw this before, and he's just going to keep wasting time. Hey, look at the clock. 1 minute is left, just shy of 1 minute. So DCH can stay in this position. Keep Kansan busy. The longer that you keep Kansan busy, the more that the buck cannot be impactful on the bomb site. And the Jaeger is needed in this spot to rotate through construction where Grixer is. Now you've got Yeti stacking up with Kansan. They'll toss nades in. Super opening up construction. All 4 players of Soniqs in the vicinity of this Jaeger, and there down goes Yeti to Nerix. So the Soniqs will continue to trail in numbers because they didn't expect this mirror at the top of red. A truly baffling layout now from Elevate, and the Soniqs don't know what to do with it. They're still fighting shadows, unsure of what to do next. 10 seconds, and you have to go for broke into the bomb site. Nerix picks up another big kill with Grixer refragging. Super jumps on in, and he's punished by Ney, leveled by that shotgun. And look at Grixer inside of construction. No hope for the Soniqs because it's the off-site play from Elevate to dominate that first round.
That ladder inside of Garage has really been paying off at this event so far. So actually, Astro from FaZe has been using this ladder almost every single series that they've played Clubhouse so far, and he's found a successful flank. And I think Elevate, I think Ney has been watching some FaZe Clan VODs because, well, they're doing the same thing, and it's working out the exact same way. Once that opening kill was made from Ney, well, that's the ace of the board, and Soniqs, they were kind of scrambling. They're like, what are we going to do next? But you have a Thermite, you have a Maverick, you could easily breach the wall into Cash from server. You never tried to do it. Yeah, there might have been a mute jammer on the wall, but you have grenades, you have the Maverick torch. All you gotta do is just basically deal with it, if you will. Buck vertically can go down below, clear out the jammer as well with a single yellow ping on that center area of the wall. It's easy things to do, but Soniqs, they don't seem to really either want to do it or just didn't figure out that they could have done it. And that made Elevate's life a lot easier as DCH bought so much time. Nerix on the red stairs with the Mira provided really good support, and nobody from Soniqs went below to walk up the red stairs. Nobody flashed it. Nobody tossed any grenades. It was very much a standstill almost. Soniqs waiting for Elevate to make the first move, expecting aggression. But Elevate didn't bring it a single time, and it's kind of the story of Soniqs and Clubhouse. The games that they've struggled in, which to be fair, on Clubhouse they've done a really good job, but there was a game in particular against NIP. They lost 6-8 because, same kind of reasoning, NIP was sitting still, they were waiting, and then Soniqs, they were struggling to break apart the rounds and open it up for themselves. They almost rely on the enemy to make a mistake or give them too much space, and then the Soniqs can capitalize. When it doesn't happen, well, the round doesn't go their way. CC defense, Mir being brought out again, and a kite.
A triple hard breach from the Soniqs, and they're running the exact same lineup as before. The Mira window now broken, so no vision will be given. But as long as you can get rid of that Electric Claw, you have a way in, and there it goes. The Mira window has been ejected. That means that if a Selma goes on that wall, an Impact Grenade can deal with it. It also means that the Maverick can't get up as close as they want. First pick goes to Kansan. The Soniqs start off by taking the Oryx down. That's the fastest operator in the game, and a key part of most teams' roam is now gone.
Fastest operator in the game. Such a funny statistical fact where it's like, yeah, he's the fastest. Well, not when he's sprinting, but his gadgetry. When you press middle mouse button, you storm through walls, you storm through anything really in your way. You can knock over Monty or knock over shields, etc. and just have a ton of fun. Thermal charge goes out on that mirror window that was broken on the CC wall. That means there's now an opening for Soniqs. There are 3 players outside. They're going to be scouting the bomb site, getting information. Yeti says, you know what, my job here is done. Gonna rappel up, rotate over, and now the question comes, do you go for Garage or do you go for Master Bedroom? Or do you just work with a single breach? It is possible, but very, very uncommon. Soniqs actually doing just that, runs in through side. Kansan finds the opening kill. Actually, that was Yeti, but a shutdown comes through from Sapper. Now Elevate have to make a play.
DCH is down below. What did you talk about? This ladder that was been used by a number of teams. Rexon, if he doesn't know that somebody's there, well, he might be taken off guard by the Jaeger. Down goes Sapper, so DCH is nowhere near as effective. That puts more onto the shoulders of Nerix, playing in the same spot, but a different bomb site as before, top of red. DCH waiting patiently. Rexon will sit inside a garage. 3 smokes go out. Nerix has rotated in the A-bomb site. Diffuser going down next to the default spot inside of CCTV. DCH is up, and it's Rexon to slow him down. The Soniqs looks much sharper, and they are, in fact, almost every single player in on the action. Super gets the diffuser down right as the final kill comes in. And well done to Soniqs, because they're able to find their footing on a map that they've played a lot but was not chosen by them, and they do it much quicker than they did on Villa.
Yeah, and it was indeed that, well, just the breach run through a simple take from Soniqs, and this time around, what they did better than in the game against NIP is that they actually took map control, they created chaos, and with the chaos they created space, and they also got the kills to go with it. It wasn't just Super throwing a smoke grenade, then trying to plant. No, it was Kansan running in, Yeti getting a kill, then Super got off the plant, figured out the situation, toxic babes, C4s, etc. Am I safe here? He then said, okay, I am safe, I can start planting once more. He did just that, they got the round, and speaking to Soniqs' objective play here, they average 2 plants every map. Remember, there are only 6 attacking rounds unless you go OT, then you can get 1 or 2 additional rounds depending on where you start on. That means that they've planted a lot of times. They have 13 plants alone on Super, which is top 5 in the category as of today, before any games were had, so clean off the day. Elevate, on the other side, they have 0.7 plants on average. They have 7 plants total. That is tied dead last. So these 2 teams clearly play a very different, I would say, priority, if you will, right? Very heavy objective play from Soniqs, very kill-based objective for Elevate. They don't care about planting as much. And I will say, on Villa, we saw a different kind of Elevate because they planted twice and they tried to do the 3rd time. They really had a very clear mind what they wanted to do, where typically for Elevate, I mean statistically at least, they don't seem to care at all about planting diffuser, but rather getting kills because it's a lot more fun.
Absolutely correct. I mean, in terms of funness factor, you've now brought back how Oryx was fun, and now you're talking about how getting kills are fun. Yeah. And I mean, fair enough. I guess fun is a consideration for these teams. This is a bar stock defense from Elevate. This is a bomb site that we have seen steadily increase its play rate. And again, just as we said with Living Room Library on Villa, it is not necessarily the best bomb site for the defenders at all.
So, in fact, it has been played 17 rounds so far. It has a 35% defender win rate, which isn't too bad. The overall is 52, and CC, for example, only has 46. So it's all right in terms of play rate. It's about a little bit less than average. It's okay at best.
So about a third of the times it's played, it's won. Not great.
Not great.
That's what? That's 6 wins out of the 17 rounds for the defenders. Not a smart place to go for the defenders more often than not, but it's going to be attempted here by Elevate. Nice flank drones down below. The Soniqs are very apprehensive about what Elevate can do off-site, especially after that first round. Nay playing down an oil pit, ascending that ladder up into the garage and then making the Soniqs pay. You need somebody to be in that position to watch it. Because of the triple hard breach from the Soniqs, they don't exactly have a dedicated flank watch operator. You're not going to bring a Zero, you're not going to bring a Nomad, you're not going to bring a Gridlock, so you're going to have somebody stick on that position themselves. They managed to open up the wall inside, or tried to open up the wall inside a stock. But Elevate so far have not really had to do too much. They haven't really put themselves in harm's way. Nobody's really collided at this present moment. Because of the Soniqs' interest in stock onto that stage bomb site, the next step is usually to go over to Strip Club and try to open up that wall as well. Additionally, if you go for a plant over by the billiard table, you usually need to control weight room / gym above. If that's not the case from the Soniqs and they don't grab access to it, they'll be in trouble. So they're focused now over towards that stage. First of all is Grixer. He's the top player on the team. He has more than double the rest of his teammates combined, and it's a rotate coming in from DCH. They've still got so much intel, yet he's stunned by the yokai from above. It's a powerful spot for DCH to be in. Elevate still have full control from above. Their numbers will dwindle. Onigiri on bomb site goes down to Rexen. Super's in the bomb site with Rexen too, but Nirek swats him away. In the safety of the corner by a hard wall. There it is from Elevate, as it looked like Super was going to plant, but DCH above says not today. 2 huge picks from him. Again off site. Again under the radar. And Elevate pick up their second round, and they regain the lead in this matchup.
Soniqs once again really going for an extremely simplistic direct approach to the attack, and it doesn't work out once again. It can. I'm not saying it won't, but it can, but right now it isn't. And it is because Elevate, just like on Villa, they're playing heavily on the map. They're everywhere. They hold top floor, and they will hold it all the way until you take it away from them. And Soniqs, you're not doing it. At the very end, you had a player above. He had a confrontation. He had a fight. He lost it, and that meant that everything was lost because one player holding the entirety of top floor just simply isn't enough, especially when you don't have, for example, the Nomad to help you cover if they push into you. Just a gunfight, 50-50%. Those odds, Elevate, they'll take them. They love them. They'll thrive on them on those 1 versus 1 engagements. And we'll now work our way through all 4 bomb sites. Gym, CC, bar, basement. Thunderbird being brought out again, second time in this series. DCH on the Kaid makes really good sense for basement because, again, there is no Thatcher on the board. You got those hatches. One Kite Claw will significantly slow down the attackers as you'll be forced to either try and grenade the Kite Claws off it or use the Maverick. And, well, if you're Soniqs, you only have 2 grenades. So grenading the Kite Claw means that you cannot grenade a player, and it was Jess and Fresh, I believe. They just had a segment earlier today about how massive grenades have been, how explosive, how many kills they've got. I mean, I think it was SSG being the most proficient, basically getting the most amount of grenade kills or grenade value so far throughout Invite 2022. And, well, Soniqs right now, you only have 2 of them. So even if you were to get the absolute most amount of value, it's nothing compared to teams running 4, 6, or 8. And now you also have a Kite Claw in your way. You gotta make decisions, but no, the nade gets used for the castle barricade. That's extremely low value given the circumstances. That's a rough start.
You think about it, you've got a Maverick who could very easily be used on those castle barricades. You got the same thing with a Selma, obviously. That would be low value for the Selma, but at least it's there. A nade and how destructive they have been. I believe it was during our pre-show segment, and I mean our pre-show, as in the desk segment before we got into this matchup. There was a stat that got shown about all of these teams and how they use nades so effectively. The North American teams, all of them, have been among the best at using nades so far.
And Na'Vi.
and then Na'Vi, which, by the way, are playing a North American team on the other stream right now up against Space Station. So if you're one of these teams in NA, you want to make sure that your nades are hitting the spot, like you said, low value.
Yeah.
Slow round here as it's a 4th bomb site for Elevate. Jim has opened up, as well as Cash. That was the one lone bomb site.
That's nice. Rexon basically threw the summer charges to the side of the hatch, then they fold out, and the hitbox of that fold out doesn't really work against the Kite Claw, so it's invulnerable. Breaches it open, good value. Also, Kenton found the kill on top of that.
Almost traded back. There goes the Banshee inside of dirt, but because of the sound of it, the Wub-Wubs, they know that somebody from the Soniqs are there. Nay is off site. Elevate love to keep a lurker, a roamer well disconnected from whatever execute is coming in from the Soniqs and just bide as much time as possible. The Soniqs are very reluctant to engage unless they have a significant advantage in terms of numbers, and they had an advantage, it's now gone. Super is down for the count. That's Diffuser surrendered as well. It looks like he's in the bomb site when he perished. Nerix is next to fall. The Soniqs will need to retrieve that Diffuser, and Grixter looks the right way, gets Sapper, a totally immobile target. Where is DCH? Where are Nay? Are they still in the bomb site? Are they roaming? Yes, they are in the bomb site. And they'll await the 2 players from the Soniqs for the hot drop. Nay gets hit by a Kona Station and a flashbang at the same time. Blinded, but he gets away with his life intact and is overhealed to boot. There's been damage done to both Kansan and Grixer. They're a couple bullets away from death. And with a TCSG in hand for DCH, but only 5 shots for DCH. 3 now. He needs to ensure that he's using them on his opponents. The wild card for the Soniqs is Yeti inside of dirt. And when the execute comes in, he can swiftly whisk his way through and catch the Elevate players off guard. There's some paralysis right now from this Elevate team. DCH with 1 bullet left. Down he goes. It's Nate at the bottom of the stairs. He looks the wrong way. Siege timing strikes again. And the Soniqs manage the clock well, isolate the off-site players, and then push to the bomb site with full control. Again, we're tied up.
Not just the clock for Soniqs, but also the rotation. They ensured that when this execute comes through, because Super is dead, because the Diffuser is deep inside, that this is all or nothing. We cannot do the same thing, lose 1 player, and then go again. Thankfully, for Soniqs, Elevate were the one in 1 bullets, especially Nay on that TCSG. But basically, you had 1 player from Soniqs walk down the main stairs. He held the cross, killed the default cam. 1 player inside of dirt that could push through as well, and 2 players on the hatch. And then they said 3, 2, 1, execute. They all drop, they all push in, they're holding angles, so either Elevate will walk into the line of sight and they will die, or Soniqs has enough presence on the bomb site to ensure that, well, if Diffuser isn't going to be going down successfully, at least we can find the picks. You can win the round either way, and yes, Soniqs, they typically play that objective of planting, but that round with Super being dead, they just say, let's go for kills. It suits them, especially when you have 4 gunners alive. There's no reason to take a gun of a player that is so proficient with the weapon when you can just use it instead and find the last 2 players of Elevate. We're going back up to Jim. That's where we started. That's where Elevate found their first round on this map. And this time around, Onigiri is again with the Legion shotgun. I was gonna say this time he's changed his mind, but no, the Legion shotgun, there's a deliberate strategy somewhere. There's some involvement that I am puzzled about, that I cannot figure out. I need to ask him after this match is possible, because normally, if you bring the MP5K on Sapper, on the mute, then you need a supplement shotgun, but that's not the case.
They just blew up a Goyo shield by accident in the middle of the bomb site, by the way. So, Elevate, if you bring a Goyo, Nabu's going to have 2 of those shields available. You've only got 1 now. That was a bit of a misplay on their end. You talked about how the Soniqs misused utility on the nade. Well, now it's Elevate to do just that. Needlessly taking out their own shield. Unless, actually, hold on a second here.
Unless it's
this might have been a deliberate strategy to peek from below. Are you making the best of a bad situation, or was it some giga-brain, giga-chat move?
When you got this many shotguns, surely you're not going to use the shield explosion to create a small hole in the floor that you could have shotgun otherwise.
I mean,
surely.
I have seen a Yana throw her grenade through an Aruni gate and then have a Gemini clone available. So stranger things have happened. I've also seen a Hibana use her X-Kairos on a soft hatch with a buck right next to her. So sometimes teams don't exactly think this through.
Either way, there's a hole in the floor. and Onigiri has a shotgun. Those are the two things that are factual.
Maybe they don't want, maybe the ammo is too valuable. They saw DCH run out of ammunition on the TCSG last round, and they go, let's not find ourselves.
That's the one.
Maybe we'll just use this Goyo shield. We don't need it anywhere else. Or, oh, damn, we brought a Goyo. What are we going to do? Well, we'll blow up the floor. Why not?
Preserve the ammo by playing more shotgun makes sense. Onigiri is playing inside a bathroom. We saw Yeti outside of the jacuzzi breach down below with Super 1 floor above.
And if we recall the last time that the Soniqs attacked this bomb site, this was back in round number 1, they lived and died off of their inability to take cash and construction. That's where Elevate invested quite heavily. They were inside a garage, they were playing top red, they were playing cash, and the Soniqs could not drone them out in time, and it ended up costing them. They weren't even able to get close to the bomb site. So if they can at least punish the players off-site from Elevate, I'm interested to see what the Soniqs can do in an execute.
Yeah, it's still gonna be tough though, right? Because this time around you don't have server. You only have that jacuzzi breach. Now, Grixer on the window, and Yeti might go to that office hatch, might try and make a play off that. It's gonna come down to injuries. It is a 5 versus 5. This is what happened exactly against NIP when Soniqs played last. If Elevate has studied Soniqs, they should know what's coming. Super will try and plant inside a gym, use that smoke grenade, 2 players in the windows. Elevate, have you studied your opponent? We will see in just a moment.
Onigiri very worried about pushing towards that, but there he goes, and he hops out. Rexon falters. At least a pick for Elevate, though, traded back immediately by Grixer. 20 seconds left, and Elevate sit at a 4v4. The Soniqs need to get into the bomb site with the diffuser in hand. There's Super taking out Nay as Grixer. Super's in stop, though. Diffuser surrendered. So Grixer in the killing fields. He'll have to do more than that. You've got a plant. A harvest is so bountiful with Yeti now on that diffuser, but he falls off at the last second. Elevate regain the lead.
I mean, I said it, Super will throw out smoke grenades and plant in gym. If I know that, there's a very high chance Elevate knows that. Now I'm going to say that I think they did, because the second those smoke grenades were tossed out, they positioned themselves to respond accordingly. Nay was also down below with a C4. Worst case, Onigiri opened up the round, jumped out with the shotgun in hand, and thankfully for him, somebody was nearby close enough for that shotgun to even do damage and actually find the kill, because I'm going to be completely honest, the Legion shotgun is not known for destroying players the same way as most shotguns are on defending side. Well done, Elevate and Soniqs. I mean, you might need to expand your strat book, because we've seen these so many times before that they're starting to get memorable. If I know them, Elevate knows them. That means that most teams going forward that are even better, that are even more prepared, will know exactly what you're going to be doing. Mind you, Soniqs played NIP, was it 6-8 loss on Clubhouse. That's where a lot of these pocket strats from Soniqs, they showed these limited attacks where they only take one breach and maybe the side window, and they work with that. And it's really, really hard to make that work if you're Soniqs, because limited attacks are simple, and simple is also often easily countered if you're prepared for it. They usually work the best if it's a surprise effect. That's not gonna happen if you use them 2, 3, 4, 4. I just said 4 twice. 2, 3, 4, 5 times in the past at this exact same event.
I'm going to talk about the overall circumstances of our very first day of playoffs here. If you don't want things to be spoiled, well, I'm sorry for you. I don't know how long I'm going to talk about it, but just close your ears, I guess, and hope for the best. But today, North America are in action very early on, and it has been a terrible day for the North American teams. Other than the dominance of TSM, 2-0ing Ninjas in Pajamas, OXG got smoked 0-2 by FaZe Clan. Soniqs got blown out in the very first map here against Elevate, and SSG got dominated by Na'Vi as well on the other stream. So as good as North America might have been through the group stage, they are struggling quite heavily, and they're going to end up with most of their teams in the lower bracket if they don't fix this today.
Interesting. I did not see that coming, to be honest. And today's games have been rather fast, I would say. You know, there was some 7-1s and some 7-3s and whatnot.
Making up for lost time, I suppose.
Yeah, I guess we had some days that really dragged out. You know, max OT and 2 maps in a row and craziness. And, well, now we're catching up. Soniqs in a very familiar position. We've seen this before. Last time they attacked CCTV, that was that second round. So it was 4 rounds ago. And last time it was just they opened up the breach, they ran it on through in, but this time the breach has not really been opened. It's just that single small slit that'll be an angle, but it will not be an entry. You cannot crouch through, cannot prone through, cannot vault through. And DC Hedge extended out on the map as he has been every single round, doing a pretty good job. He is 2-3. It's him and Nay on the prey, but Nay this time around has found himself on site. Yeti on this red stairs finds a good opening kill, but the barbed wire will stop him from pushing on up.
I mean, taking out Nerix is huge. Even though Nerix is now even at a 5-5, he has been so consequential in most of these rounds, and as the Mira, even if he's dead, his gadgetry is still going to be so important. Those black mirrors will continue to assist his team.
That they will, and Super is still sticking around. Now fire arrows coming out from the side of Rexen. A follow-up kill as well from Kansan. Good synergy here. Good garage execute. Remember, when my Spanso arrows, they will go through ADSs. Do not stop them. LMG goes brrr, finds a kill as well. 2v4.
And it's 2 LMGs to do that. The Alda for the defenders, and the Capitao LMG as well, tearing on through. There goes the Evil Eye Cam, so that means Nay has to fall off of the gadget and instead engage. DCH propping up inside of Cache. A vantage point towards Rafters where the stack up for Soniqs is. If they don't hit their shots, they will be punished from this position. But he lights up Kansan, not enough for a kill, but enough to do some damage and give a warning to the rest of Soniqs. Yeti is boxed out outside. Unless he does something to this wall, he's not going to be particularly crucial. Outside of the rotate, down goes Rexen, and Yeti falls as well. Grixer walks in. There's a Nitro cell from below. In fact, it's actually 2 impacts. All you have to do is stay alive. Grixer will be immobilized. He's got the diffuser in hand, planting in the middle of the A-bomb site. Nay retaking. Still plenty of time for Grixer to fall off. Nay doesn't want to bait this out. He's got plays and pings to go off of. No intel outside of that. All eyes of Soniqs on Grixer. 8-2, one of the best performing players, and he's inside of construction. Alda versus F2, Grixer versus Elevate for Soniqs to tie it up, to take the first half into a tie and go into the second half. Hitting a reset for the Soniqs would be huge. Nay is so low on HP, it's only going to take a couple bullets, and the fire hose that is the F2 claims its final target. The Soniqs don't win the first half, but they keep it even, and it's a 3-3 scoreline as these teams now swap sides.
Grixer really showing why he's so well spoken of and so high on the standings. Remember, he's second on KD, plus 46. He's second in rating, only being beaten out by Nesk of all people. So absolutely huge performance from him so far, and in particular in this match. Really doing good work. Soniqs in that 4 versus 2 execute, they did every single thing correctly, and Elevate somehow punished it. It was a swing, 2 kills from Jaeger, impact below from Maestro, 1 got the injury, the second got the kill. Yes, Maestro was half health, Twitch was full, but Twitch, Grixer, did a good job of running deep into side, running all the way away from that information, planted from safety. There was no information really, there was sounds, there was somewhat of a yellow ping, but it didn't really quite hit the mark because the bulletproof camera inside of servers couldn't see him. And then it came down to a 1 versus 1 standoff. Grixer came out on top. He did the same thing on Villa. And going back to when the plan came down from Soniqs, when they tried to at least, it was very well executed because Yeti rotated to that server breach and he was holding the angle into radio door. Then you had 2 players on the garage catwalk rafters, one that was going to plant and the second was there for backup. 4th player was Grixer on that CC window into side, holding top red. And yes, even though the cover didn't really hold what it should have had, I would say that the setup itself was really, really good. Everything was covered, everything was accounted for, except, of course, for those impact grenades from below. 3-3 is the side. We now swap it around. Elevate go on the offense, and Soniqs go on the defense. And they will start it off down below.
Well, the Soniqs have not led in this series at all, even on their map pick of Villa. Their first round came in the 6th and final round of the first half, and the Soniqs' best effort was 3 rounds in Villa. They've already met that target here on Clubhouse, and I guess there's something to be said about how you take a team that doesn't have a lot of tape on a certain map and then bring them to that map. The fact that there were so many question marks about Villa, the Soniqs must have come in and seen something in the VODs they did review and then be confident enough in their own ability. And talking to all the teams before the event started, Nick, there was an even split of teams that said we're at our best when we're playing our game, and half the teams that would say we're at our best when we're preparing for our opponents and matching them and beating them. So the Soniqs obviously had a mix of both.
Yeah.
You want to play your own game on Villa, you want to be able to outfox Elevate. Didn't work. Here on Clubhouse, the Soniqs at least look far more confident, and Elevate on attack had some difficulties on Villa. So how will that translate to Clubhouse? Half of the round to go, a nade goes in, no damage done to Rex and Smokes as well. Elevate could be shaping up for a very fast execute. If they decide to drop from blue, they'll be greeted by 2 players from the Soniqs who are looking in that direction. Instead, Elevate turns tail, they go through bar, they're now looking at the kitchen and main stairs.
Yeah, and the one thing to note here is that Elevate is playing 6 grenades, whereas Soniqs only played 2. That means that if there are players in passive positions from the side of Soniqs, well, you got grenades to clear them out. That is a position right now where Grixer right now, whether it's AKs or third box, if you have a grenade, you drone him out, that should be at least some damage, or in the very best case, a kill. It will be a kitchen hatch focus here, similar fashion in that of Soniqs, but opening kill is Super actually finding Nay.
Very nicely done for the Soniqs. They're trading even in terms of these opening picks. Kansan's down, a smoke gets used to try and conceal the pickup now as Super moves into position. Get Kansan right back up. Limited HP, but Nerix is in, and he gets 2 big kills for his trouble. He's in the back of church. Maybe it's a sermon to be held as Onigiri inside of blue is wiping them all out as well. Yeti inside of dirt taking out Onigiri, but he's the only one left standing. No way to stop the diffuser from going down to Sapper. He has to walk out, and it's DCH to get in on the fun too. 3 players from Elevate showing their worth, and the very first defense for the Soniqs does not work out.
Nerix really read that situation beautifully. What happened was that Super got the opening pick, but his teammate was injured. So he tosses out a toxic bait, not expecting anybody to push through, because why on earth would you do that? But Nerix, he knows better. He read the situation. He was like, okay, toxic bait, now you're going to revive your teammate. I'm going to sprint on through, make it through that toxic smoke, and then get a double kill instead of just getting the one. And that really opened up the round, because then it's like Super, oh, guy inside, what's happening? And all of Soniqs will have this scrambling like, okay, what is going on? Where is this player? How did we just lose 2 people inside the bomb site when we thought everything was covered? Elevate then followed up. There was a player pushing blue stairs. He got 2 kills. Last player from Soniqs was inside of dirt. Couldn't do anything. Had no help. Last man 1v3. Plant is going down. Yeah, that's a tough one. And Soniqs, they agree. Gonna go back upstairs. Or I say back, but they haven't been here before on the defensive side. They've only attacked it before. So first defense for them on CC. Second round, first time. They started in the basement. They're not gonna be doing a, well, extension, if you will, over to gym. They made 2 rotates. The observer just showed it a second ago, where they have a rotate to gym and then rotate from office like you would if it was a gym bomb site. But it is in fact CC.
Soniqs still in the position where they've yet to lead once this series, and even if they win this round, they're still going to have to wait a little while longer. How detrimental to your mental state is it, Nick, to now be? Oh, when did we start? We started at 1 o'clock. It's about 2:30-ish. It's been 90 minutes of the Soniqs not having a lead in this series. What does that do to your mindset?
I mean, Soniqs, they have gotten a ton of opening picks so far. It's been traded back and forth a couple of rounds, but at least they got that going for them. They're getting initial picks, getting initial ground, but then the middle game, they stagnate, they slow down, and we've kind of criticized a couple of teams for that at SI, Soniqs being one of those where they just kind of stand still and they're like, what do we do next? Well, let's just wait. And then Elevate say, we'll wait as well, and then nothing happens, and we all know that when you're in the attack, time is on your side, or rather, it's not, you gotta push through, but Soniqs now being in the defense, now they can sit comfortably, now they can actually wait, and we'll see if that starts paying in their favor, whereas obviously it didn't. Yellow ping coming through.
No, hold on a second.
Drone. Oh,
wow,
nice one. Ensuring the information was accurate, said I can do that myself, takes the cam, finds the wall bang, wrecks off the board.
Both bomb sites are empty, by the way. Aggressively off-site for the Soniqs right now. Nobody actually sitting in the confines of where that diffuser needs to be planted. Instead, the Soniqs have spread out. They got some players over towards Gym and Master. They've got players on Catwalk, which is where Kansan is. And he'll fire away at the open breach on the wall. He's lost some HP in the process. Drone down earlier on, so there's positioning up top on those rafters, known by Elevate. They need to flush him out. And Nay will be the one to do that, but he needs to watch for the pop-up. Kansan's looking one way. Grixer gets a kill, but it's 2 for Elevate. It looks like we finally will see a team win more than a single round in a row. This time, though, it's at the Soniqs' expense. Super at the top of red stairs. He has to try and delay a push as much as possible. He's got 2 canisters to do that. Not a ton of time, yet he swings. It's a desperate attempt. Desperate times call for desperate measures, but he's dead all the same. Another toxic canister goes out, and Super retreats into cash. He'll reposition. Diffuser going down. Sapper successful, but yet he sees the feet. Super can't do too much about it. All the bullets raining in, and there's just too many angles. Overwhelmed. Cue the Grim Reaper meme. Going every single NA door with sight in hand, because it looks like Elevate will find another NA casualty.
You know, if you showed me this game, but you flipped the team names, I feel like I would be like, oh yeah, Soniqs are doing really good. I expected this from you, right? But that's not what's happening. It's actually Elevate. They are the ones really striking through, showing good strategical depth, good adaptation, and they understand that when they're on the attack, well, they gotta be the ones acting. They gotta be the ones making moves. They did just that. Opening kill with that wallbang, followed up by entry into garage. 2 players entryed, played off each other. 3rd guy on the breach holding the cross, so the catwalk player was stuck proning on the ground, could not move. And that's what I would expect from Soniqs. However, this is Elevate. Really do, there we go, thumbs up, a heart. It is Valentine's Day after all, so whether you're watching this at home alone, well, we're all here with you. And if you are watching with your significant other, well, get out there, go on a date, have a good day, get some breakfast, dinner, lunch, whatever time zone you're in, have a good time. Then come back right after, of course, and keep watching the games, but I'll allow you a small break. Do you have Elevate Soniqs 5-3 in favor of Elevate? And as Parker mentioned, the first time on Clubhouse that a team has won 2 rounds in a row was Elevate that won the basement attack and then won the CC attack. They got the plant down, they got the opening kill, they checked all the marks. It wasn't a flawless, so not every single mark, but most of them. And now in a tactical timeout, I believe by Soniqs.
Yes, that is correct. The Soniqs did not find much success with their tactical timeout all the way back on Villa. Will they be able to do anything more here? Well, Villa should have been the more comfortable bomb site. 3 rounds seems to be the ceiling for Soniqs at the moment. They need to break through that mental barrier that they have on Villa. By the time they made it to round number 8, the Soniqs only won 2 rounds. They won the 9th round. This is where we are right now, so the Soniqs can at least get ahead of their position on that first map. But the one thing we talked about, Soniqs have not led in this series. The clock is still going, by the way. It's been 5 minutes since we last brought this up, and another round goes by. The Soniqs needed that one to tie. Yeah. Their ability to lead is now farther away. And the only way that the Soniqs can lead is if they win 3 in a row, which means that that 12th and final round will either be another victory for the Soniqs to put Clubhouse away, or a loss, and then they go to overtime. So the Soniqs need to be perfect from this point forward, or else it's overtime on the menu for them. Given the way these teams trade back and forth on rounds, Elevate always being a leg up on the Soniqs, you don't want to go to overtime because then it depends entirely on where the momentum is at. Elevate haven't needed to use their timeout on Villa or on Clubhouse, and that's because mentally, they've been composed. Strategically, they had a couple issues on Villa, but they had such a lead that it didn't really matter. Here on Clubhouse, Elevate have looked mighty fine, and they'll go on attack with the Soniqs defending in the basement. We'll see what exactly Elevate can be done differently because the Soniqs are going to be prepared for this execute. The Soniqs slipped up and lost control on blue very early on and then peeked the hatch inside a kitchen to try and rotate and scramble out knowing that they lost that off-site control. You can't be doing that again.
That's what the Ying comes up. The Ying from Nerix has been brought to the table. They have smoke grenades. In fact, they have 4 of them. They don't have a single flashbang. It's just all grenades and smokes. That's 10 pieces of utility combined. 6 and 4. That means that this round will actually be much like a Soniqs round where it's going to be slow. We're going to be droning, taking control. Soniqs themselves also playing slow because they got the Mira. They got the Kaid. Both teams playing the same game. That means it'll likely come down to a 5 versus 5 with very few seconds on the clock. The Kaid, especially, will slow you down as you try and breach. And, I mean, you see Kansen literally in a corner. Just gonna be waiting, sitting around. Remember, on this double church wall, there is a mirror window, same as in blue wall we're looking at right now. And that means that Elevate, the only area that's not contested by a mirror window, will be dirt. And it'll be kitchen hatch. The Ying will be your opening. That when spine comes through and smoke comes out, that's your cover. That's when you need to act, and right now using nade to try and clear out some positions and some utility is good. You have so much time to work with, 1 minute and 14, and that's a toxic bait being forced out by Super. So even boding more well for Elevate. The kitchen hatch still yet to be opened. There is a Kite Claw on it. We'll have to sacrifice a grenade or do what you're doing right now. Put that exothermic charge on the soft part of the floor, and the area of effect destruction will actually open the hatch if you do so.
And that was something that we didn't focus on in that previous round. There was so much stuff going on that the exothermic charge went off, opened it up. There's the Ying in action. Nerix taking out Grixer. Both exothermic charges gone, but it's just a kill fest. Nerix picking up 2 kills onto the Soniqs. Match point seemingly here if Nerix can continue this round that he's on. Tearing in through the toxic canister, slowed down. There goes Rexen last player is also dead. 2 kills from Nay, 3 kills from Nyrix. Elevate are absolutely dominating, and look at the celebration on them. Both Nay and Sapper very elated with that one. It looks like the CEOs of North America, Elevate, have yet another victim on their hands. It's 6-3 for Elevate. This is series point.
It's just two different stories when you look at the player accounts, right? Elevate are ecstatic, they're super happy, and they should be. They won the first map, and now they're at match and map point. Soniqs, I think was super, had his hand in his forehead, and not really a ton of smiles on their lineup. And of course, when you're losing, it's hard to be happy, but you also gotta stay in it mentally. So I hope Soniqs can bring it back and say, guys, tighten up the ship. Let's bring the good vibes, bring the energy. It's not out yet. We got a long road ahead of us. We gotta bring it all the way to OT. That's 3 rounds in a row. We cannot make a mistake. Then you gotta win 2 of the next 3 rounds in OT. Then you take Clubhouse. And then, you got a third map of Oregon. And it's not going to get any easier, because even if you do that, Elevate, I think they have so much energy, at least in this first game of the day for them. Sure, if they end up winning, then they go up against Damwon Kia, and you can argue, well, maybe Elevate will have less energy against their fellow APAC team, but that doesn't matter, because right now, the only thing they care about is Soniqs. They just care about this one single game, and that's the right approach. Think too far ahead, and the present might just slip. We've seen that before. We call it underrating teams, right? Undervaluing, thinking they're not going to be a big issue, right? Oh, we got Sandbox now. Well, we got BDS in the final. Let's think about BDS for a second. No. You gotta think about the opponent that's right in front of you, and only that opponent, because every single team right now at this event can take you out. We're all on equal ground, and everyone is surprising each other each and every single day. Soniqs right now, well, they're getting very surprised, I think, because, well, this might be Elevate's map pick, but Elevate has already beaten Soniqs on their home turf of Villa. That just means that Elevate, they want this match, they want this game, and they will open up the wall on CC. It is a gym defense, so very normal extension. Now start working with the wall breaks and top red stairs. He's gonna sit behind a shield, Alibi Prisma as well. And Elevate, taking it slow. They know that, guys. Now is not the time for mistakes. Oh, mistakes don't get made, Injure comes out. I don't think you can finish off the kill unless you greed for it. But no greed will be had. Super will get revived, 20 health on him. That's alright if you're Soniqs. It's better than losing a full player, but not great.
Soniqs are going to take an engagement here and lose out 2 more players. They're destroying bodies at the problem, but the problems keep piling up, as do the bodies, stacking up in the bomb site. Super remains, as does Kansan, but they're deep off the bomb site, and Super had taken a punishment earlier on. Elevate in fine form, and they know the Malusi down below. Yeti gets taken out by Onigiri, and will continue, or Yeti takes out Onigiri and continues his roam. So at least one goes back in his favor, but if he heads up red stairs, it'll be right into the waiting arms of Elevate.
Look at the health bars. Super, Yeti, and DCH are all sub 20 or on 20 health, and that means 1 bullet, or if not half a bullet, will take you out. That means that Elevate, they can get aggro, but Yeti, he's the one to do it first.
Keeping his team in this HP or no HP, as long as there's a single sliver of HP to your name, you can still fry, and Elevate know that. DCH walks in. Yeti, though, 2 big kills and a third to his name. Kansan finds 1. Elevate of Nay in line. But there's 3 players from the Soniqs, plenty of time to work with. Can Nay be the hero? Through the wall, nothing to be found. Swung on and looks the wrong way. Every single player from the Soniqs are a single shot. Nay can make this work, but he needs to play off of the time and the information he has. Heading into the bomb site will be difficult. There's lots of hard walls that he cannot shoot through. The players from Soniqs, far enough back. They know exactly where he is. Inside of logistics, a brief pause and a deep breath from the fans of Elevate. A miraculous clutch unfolds, but Kansan says, no, that's not enough. We're going to stay in this. Our day's not over just yet. The Soniqs find their 4th round, but there's still quite a mountain for them to climb before they get to overtime.
Yeti, oh my, single-handedly just saved the round for Soniqs. He found 3 kills, 2 with a gun, 1 with that impact that just got tossed out, killed 1 player, and did a ton of damage onto the second. Yeti wants it. He wants to stay in this. Soniqs needed 3 clean, not flawless, but there is no room for mistakes kind of rounds. They've got 1. They got 2 more to go. That's a successful gym defense. but as you go on, you'll have to work your way through every single site. CC is next. If you win that, then you gotta make that 50-50 decision between going bar or going back to basement where you have not found success. So with every round win for Soniqs, you can argue it gets even more difficult. You'll have to prove it on CC first. Before we go further, similar lineup from both teams. Grixer on the Aruni, Kansen on the Kaid. Really playing around this wall deny from Soniqs, both bringing the Mute and the Kaid multiple rounds. And Elevate, same fashion, 6 grenades, 4 smokes, no change really. It's an interesting choice of bringing out the Jackal. It's been Nerix on that flex. Played the Ying, played the Jackal, and doing good job so far, especially on that basement attack. That was all Nerix.
Nerix has been one of the standout performers in this entire series for Elevate, and they tend to go back and forth. Onigiri has great games, DCH has had some great games. Hard to do that, by the way, DCH playing upstairs in isolation and not with the actual team. We've seen the impact that can have on a squad, but now he's here and the team is fighting at full force, in person. Soniqs fighting for their lives at the moment. Nitrocell from Yeti is there. DCH could get blown sky high. Nitrocell goes out, wrong direction. And that's a PC utility used by the Soniqs that could be more crucial in the later round. So a gambit from Yeti, it does not pay off.
You need to try, right? Because especially if you're Yeti who just carried the previous round, if you get these opening kills and you make space for your team, that's really good. You get less pressure on top of you. But now, it's 5v5, you're down to C4, and that could really be crucial in a minute and a half from now once Elevate starts planting, because the only other way to deny that bomb to go down are the toxic babes from Super and a single C4 from Kansen. That's all you got. And Kansen is a catwalk player. He's not going to be in a position to use his C4, so really all you have, it's all Super and his toxic babes. It's not a lot.
No, it isn't.
Just 3 toxic babes. That's
last time around, Kansen couldn't even do that much about the catwalk because he was focused on the breach that had been opened up out on that platform. So now, Elevate, they'll break the gate. There it goes. Kansen knows this, and he has to be very wary of it. That Nitro Cell will not be intended for the bomb site, as you talked about. It'll go towards the door and garage, and if somebody from this Elevate squad doesn't look, well, that'll be bad. Nerix uses both of his smokes to break out the 2 Aruni gates. 30 seconds until they're reset. Kansen also has some backup upstairs in Rexen, while Yeti is down below trying to hold that blue position on the top of the stairs.
Good formation from Soniqs, honestly. They have covered all the important areas that they need. And sure, they don't have C4s, but the ground matters a lot. Catwalk is so important, and Onigiri using these nades in arguably the wrong position because Soniqs, they know this. They've gone off the bomb side, but Onigiri, he finds a kill with a gun instead.
There you go. Elevate starts this off. 4 more kills for them to be found, but the Soniqs take out Nay, and they answer back. Kansen onto DCH. The garage control will have to wait a little while longer for Elevate, if they can even get it at all. Nerix is next one up. There goes the barbed wire. Still not a muscle being moved from either Rexen or Kansen. He's in a good position. Protected on catwalk again. Is there a nade with his name on it? At the moment, none available. 1 smoke for Sapper. He'll want to get the plant down at some point. Still, catwalk has not been opened up. There goes Onigiri. All of a sudden, the Soniqs have firm control, and they are just beating Elevate every step of the way, leaving Nerix inside a garage. Nobody from the Soniqs needs to give him an inch. Make the Jackal come to you, or if you're feeling mighty fine, you pop up as Rexen, take down the last player of Elevate on a statement kill, and we will go to that 12th and fateful round.
And now Soniqs looking a lot more alive, but it's going to get even more difficult. And with that difficulty comes a tactical timeout, I believe, from the side of Elevate. And this is basically speaking to the importance of this very possible final round. If you're Elevate, you want to win it. If you're Soniqs, you want to try and make sure that Elevate doesn't get it. And right now, we are indeed hovering church, so Elevate, we have some time to talk. What operator do we bring? What is the 6th pick? What is the approach? What are the weaknesses of Soniqs? The last 2 times they've been in the basement, they brought out the Kaid and the Mirror. That was the 2 most important areas of Soniqs. There was 1 mirror window on that triple wall on church, 1 being soft, 2 being reinforced, and the 2nd mirror window went onto the 3rd box looking into blue. So, you did bring the Ying the previous time around. You get the Candelas, you get smoke grenades. You didn't really get to use it because Nerix himself found 3 kills on that round, all from Moto Door. It was all too easy. But the good thing is, you didn't really show your hand in terms of execute. Soniqs doesn't know exactly how you intended to use the Ying, so it could work again.
There were a couple things that Elevate didn't really change up about their executes, right? They're trying very similar things time and time again, and I appreciate the fact that the Soniqs, they're sharpening their knives and they're waiting. They're saying, okay, well, we're ready for where you're going to come through. We will be standing in these positions to stop you. Some inadequacies in the defense of the Soniqs inside a garage corrected with the fact that Kansan didn't need to actively hold that breach because of the 2 Aruni gates that were placed in that position. Additionally, Rexen was sitting in there as well, so that if Kansan got into trouble, there was somebody from the Soniqs to come to his rescue. Because of that, Elevate did not change too much. They still wanted to take control of Garage. They got the first pick, which was good, but then after that, Elevate went for the exact same strategy. They couldn't take Lounge as much as they wanted. When they finally got it, they tried to take Garage, but they didn't have any utility left. The smokes were burned to break those Aruni gates, and then there was no plant to be found by Sapper because you didn't have access to Garage. So that was the most pivotal position for this Soniqs team. They hold on to it. That was a key error that had happened on the defense before. Soniqs fixed that mistake, and they win the round off of it because Elevate is simply not able to overrun those 2 players from the Soniqs in that spot. So with overtime now well within their reach, the Soniqs will again want to focus on this Garage, but it's a very different setup for them.
Yeah, we are basement defense. We are definitely roaming. We're getting active. I mean, a Runegate on the garage door, that really is something that we don't see very often on a basement defense of all things. It's Rexen who wants to get aggressive, try and get a kill, slow down Elevate, and change up the pace. You mentioned that Elevate has been doing the same kind of attacks, and it's been working until they didn't. That's when Soniqs adjusted, they adapted. We're seeing that now again, because this is certainly not something we've seen before from them. Grixer is hiding inside a stock. Nerix on the Jackal here can maybe see some feetsies and figure out indeed where he is. Rexen's still on that catwalk. Yeti up on top floor actually inside of construction. That really means that Soniqs are working all 3 floors, and Grixer finds the opening kill onto Nerix. That's the Jackal off the board. That is so crucial for this roam game of Soniqs. They can now fall back, they can stick around. Either way, they've won the early round.
Yeah, that's massive for the Soniqs, and it bodes very well for the remainder of this round. The thing is that when the Soniqs get that opening pick, they have those struggles to convert, as you talked about, but a lot of those come on attack. They get the opening pick on attack and then struggle and tread water before ultimately drowning in that round. And in this case, on defense, you're going to let the site work for you. That's one piece of Elevate's push into the bomb site that's now gone. That smoke's gone. That's pressure inside a church. That's where they like the Jackal to stack up. Nerix will either play at blue or by the moto drop, and then either isolate blue or church, as we talked about before.
And they're still roaming. 2 players from Sonic. They're stuck around. They have not fallen back. And I mean, DCH, he's guessing that they're here, but he doesn't know. They have jammers. There's no drones, really. And there's only 5 drones left in total for Elevate. One of them will be used here from DCH. Droning himself in. No support, no follow-up, just him alone. Gonna be speaking to the bomb site. I think if you're Elevate, you say, you know what, we know this guy's above. Maybe try and find one. Doesn't do it. Does some damage, however. It'd be very low on health, but that's not enough. Rexen also fell back, so now, if you're Elevate, you can do the math. 2 guys in blue, they fell back from Garage. That must mean the roam is clear.
And Elevate had that information. They had drone work on them. That's why they were posted up in the spots they were in. First toxic canister's going to go. The Maverick working away at the wallway of Church. Oh, and Sapper fires on the Grixer. Down goes one of the Soniqs' best player, but there's still more to go. Yeti now punished by DCH from above. That kitchen hatch closed. Maybe not for long. Sledging away at it. The Thermite will be the one to get the diffuser in, but he's waiting for an escort. There go the smokes. Soniqs now playing in blue and in Church. Rexen with one onto Onigiri. This is going to be a dogfight between the 2 teams. Wall goes off. Super primed and ready with a shotgun. He's got 1 kill. He's going to need a second. This could be huge on him. Swinger be swung. He takes down the diffuser. SMG out, but he's not enough to do anything to DCH. 10 seconds left. Rexen now watches the breach. Lots of damage being done. A nice shot from Elevate will need to dislodge him from this position. DCH on the diffuser. Nay to cover. He's got to find both bodies. There's one. The second is Rexen, and he can't get the diffuser in time. DCH pops up. He knows where he is. And what a clutch from Rexen. It's overtime on the menu. Elevate failed to close it out, and we're going to need 2 more rounds.
They wanted it. 3 rounds in a row, they got it done. And they made so so few mistakes. Soniqs, in fact, adapted each and every single. It was tailored to how Elevate was attacking. The roam game on this final round of basement defense, they got the opening pick, they stuck around to buy time, they wasted drones, they really drained Elevate of every single utility that they had. Then they fell back to side, and yes, Elevate, they saw it, so they knew of this happening, but that doesn't mean the round is going your way. And sure, Elevate, they even got 2 kills, they played it really well on that back B area. They got 1 kill vertically, got 1 through the wall, but then, well, it was super on that breach when it got opened up by the Thermite, got 1 sharking kill, got traded back, 2v2 enabled, and Rexen, he's the man to clutch it up, and this has kind of been how Soniqs has been winning these rounds, right? We got Grixer winning 1v2, we got Rexen winning that 1v2 or /1v1, how you want to look at it, and that's how they've been clawing their way back all the way to OT. Elevate, now in the basement, back to back. Soniqs showed how it can be done. Elevate wants to say, oh, we'll do it too. Very different operator lineup, however. There's no Kaid on the board. There is no Mirror on the board like Soniqs showed twice. They are instead bringing the Maestro, they're bringing the Goyo, they're bringing the Banshees. Looking to get active, no mute. That means the roam game is likely not going to happen, and if they do, it's certainly not going to work out like it did for Yeti. And no, it does seem like they'll have a little bit of presence on the main stairs, on the blue stairs, maybe kill a single drone at best. But certainly, no activated roam will be had. It will mostly be a bomb site basement defense. And now, Soniqs, you need to show that you can break this apart. You've done it so many times before. Do it now. You go 7-6. Then you go on defense. You can pick any bomb site of your choosing. You can even go bar. Crazy, right? Terrible win rate. Don't do it, please. But basically, that means you're in the driver's seat. That's what you need if you're Soniqs.
Major confidence booster for the Soniqs. This isn't even their map, by the way.
No, it's not.
What a storyline it is to come back on a map that you did not pick. So, hey, kudos to the Soniqs team for what they're pulling off. And this is every team at this event. You don't make it to one of the best 20 teams in the world without being able to dig deep when it matters the most and pull yourself back from the brink of defeat. Elevate burned their timeout, as have the Soniqs. So both teams have really nothing to settle themselves down. Elevate take their timeout. It doesn't work. Elevate, as we talked about in this back and forth matchup, they win 3 in a row. Match point is theirs. It looks all but certain that this is over. But we've spoken way too soon. And the Soniqs said, no thanks. We're not going quietly into that good night.
They're awake now. And it clearly shows. I mean, it's not the first game of the day. This is the second. So we did start at 1 p.m. But if you go back 9 hours, I mean, that is still very early if you are a North American player. But I don't think that excuse works anymore because we've been here for over a week now. Surely we've adjusted. Jet lag is a thing of the past. We're here in the present, minute and 35 seconds left, and Soniqs looking to work that kitchen hatch again. That seems to be a fan favorite from almost every single team here, and it makes sense. The kitchen hatch provides so much area denial, right? You almost get a full bomb site in control with opening a single piece of utility of the hatch. But yeah, the clock is ticking down again, and Soniqs gotta be working a little bit fast. This bar hatch, moto hatch hasn't been opened, no cover for Yeti. Oh, Nay does not get lucky there. No opening pick this time around for free. You gotta work for it.
Yeah, nobody is really giving an inch at the moment, though Nay is peeking that hatch. Might not be an ideal position to find himself in. Instead, he'll now just wait as the rest of the Soniqs tear through the floor. In comes a Twitch drone. It has the ability to jump now, so it's not as static as it was once before. Spotting the Maestro and giving intel, but they know it's there. It doesn't make as much noise. And there's 1 damage done to Onigiri. Maybe try to throw him off, cause some confusion. Bucking away upstairs as the floor continues to go, and the Soniqs gain more and more control over the bomb site. A Nitro cell in the hands of Nerix can go out, but it's not going to do much. That hatch opening up inside a kitchen pushes Onigiri back into dirt tunnel. He'll sit and wait. Nay has not been shaken out of this position in Moto, so hatch control is still there, but damage now to Yeti as he tosses out a nade. Onigiri re-engages, spraying the Aldo away, but that was not a smart idea. Rexen down, they trade back. Soniqs will drop into the bomb site, super taken out. The Nerix and Nay combo working effectively. Grixer's down. Yeti with 2 seconds left, can't pull it off. Elevate will go back to match point, series point. They struggled through 3 rounds. Can they get it done?
Oh boy. I mean, I spoke about what happens if Soniqs goes 7 and 6. What happens if Elevate is the one to do it? Well, you're on the attacking side now. And Soniqs, yeah, you can still pick any bomb set of your choosing, just like you could before if you had won your attacking round, but you didn't. It is instead Elevate that comes out on top with a clutch performance. Nay, tried to flank the main stairs, found one pick, then died to Yeti. Yeti, last man alive for Soniqs, walked back down the main stairs with very little health and found 2 players in that main hallway. Going back to basement, 3rd round in a row. Soniqs went there, they won the round, they took us to OT. Then Elevate said, we'll match you on basement, and that they did. And now Soniqs says, we will do it once more. So this truly is a tale of who is the best basement defending / attacking team between these 2 opponents. Mira got 6 picked away again, so clearly Soniqs, they figured we lost twice with it, we won once without it, we're gonna stay without the mirror. We're gonna reinforce all 3 church walls, and I'm betting you they will do the roam again because it made sense, it worked the last time, and Elevate, well, they lost the Jackal early, and then it was just like a slippery slope. This time around though, no Jackal on the board. Nerix is flexing differently. Onigiri himself on Flores. Nerix on the Ayana. So more soft breach, I guess more flexibility, if you will, for different kinds of bomb sites. I don't think this is the best case scenario for a basement attack if you're Elevate, but they prepare for the case that it could be CC, it could be Germ. I mean, it could even in theory be Bar if Soniqs were really bold.
Obviously not the best bomb site for the defenders, as we read out the stat earlier on. Okay, this is Rexon pulling off the same move that he did before. The same panels on the window opened up, and down goes Onigiri. The Flores will not be able to have any effect whatsoever in this round. And one of the more notable players from Elevate is gone. Another church defense. The 3rd time in a row that we're going to see a bomb site get played on this bottom floor.
Yep.
Without a Flores, that is particularly damning. Any Banshees, any deployable shields, the 2 big targets of those Rotero drones, they're going to be gone. And a spare to open up the floor or a wall, also gone.
Yeah, DZH still got the sledge. You can still make work of the floor and set up kitchen if you want to for verticality. But remember, there are still roamers from Soniqs. Yeti and Rexon are still above in that cache area. And same story as last time. They're just waiting. They want Elevate to come to them. They don't gotta move a muscle. They got this Runegate on the Garrett's door. Sapper on the soft wall. Says, too much danger. Gonna go to that bar area instead of pool table window. He is being very precautious. He's watching that Garrett softball in case somebody swung out. That wasn't the case with Soniqs. They're playing it safe. They got the 5v4. They got what they wanted with the roam game, just like they did in the past. Last time, well, that was enough. This time we'll see if they can do it once again.
Opening pick for the Soniqs has been mighty good this second half, and now into overtime as well. Elevate will need to course correct as they lost that player, as we talked about in the Flores early on. They didn't lose a hard breacher, though. Still have the Thermite available in the Maverick, too. Rooney seeing a very fast rise in pick rate here, and the Soniqs really enjoy using her. Looked like DCH was going to head through Dirt Tunnel, maybe in a flank push, but instead goes back upstairs. I don't know where he's going to be with the rest of the team. There we go. In the Sledge's office, inside of Kitchen, and down will go the floor. I don't know if Elevate is going to open up that kitchen hatch. They didn't last time, by the way. They wanted to go in the church. They didn't care about kitchen, and they need that exothermic charge for the wall. There's a nade primed and ready to take out the mute jammer, and it goes in quite successful. This will give clear passage for Sapper to get on in. And the diffuser in his hands, he's going to be the one to plant it. Exothermic charge is there as well, and the Soniqs inside of blue can't see where that diffuser is because the smoke goes off from Super. Super was very strong in this position before. They need another big round from him. Swing on to the diffuser planter. He's got the shotgun in hand. He can do some significant damage. They know exactly where this push from Elevate is coming. Can the Soniqs stop it? Super is there. He gets one. Shotgun out. A beautiful play from Super. 2 big picks. Elevate falling by the wayside. Everybody's dead. And a final 15th round is gonna happen. 10 seconds and a flawless return. The Soniqs have not led in this series. They're not going to, because they now tie it up, and both teams will sit on match point.
I mean, this is Super's world. We're just living in it. Super on the basement bomb side with the smoke has now gone huge 2 times in a row. Previous time, he was hiding on the breach itself, got 1 kill, slowed the enemy down, took out the diffuser carrier as well, then he died. This time, he played on that black box area next to the bomb chassis. He found 2 picks, almost a third, did a ton of damage, slowed down, used these toxic babes to perfection, and now we go for the absolute final round. There is no infinite OT in this series. That's just for the grand finals in those best of 5 situations. This is a regular OT. We are indeed on overtime match point 7-7. Whoever gets 8 first, they take the map. If you're Elevate, you take the series. If you're Soniqs, you take us to Oregon, the third and final map of this matchup. And Jim is the bomb site where everything will be decided on. Let's take a look back at what happened previously. So, when Soniqs defended Jim last, they won. They did a good job, that's that. That's the only time Soniqs went there. Then let's look at when Elevate played Jim. Well, they also won. So they've also done a good job. But Elevate has won this bomb site twice. So they statistically have a higher win rate in this particular map or match. Played it twice, won it twice, attacked it once, lost against it once. And now they're looking to make that 3 for 3. They keep bringing the Maestro. This time Nero is flexing like he has been on the Mira. Nay on the Goyo. This time, different weapon. No longer TCSG. No longer Lesion Shotgun. No Lesion at all. That means more real weapons, if you will. Excuse me, but real weapons on this side of Elevate. And that will be very crucial for them because now they can actually be an even ground with the likes of Soniqs.
Yeah. Tensions raising in this lobby between these teams. Elevate's only 2 victories at this event so far, Nick, have come at the expense of North American teams.
Yes.
They lost to both BDS and Furia, so in a roundabout way, Elevate is superior to North America in this particular matchup.
It's true. We'll see if they can do it again.
Let's talk again just for a second about impactful kills. Super's 3 kills in the last 2 rounds have all been incredible value.
Yep.
And when we talk about teams and players, again, not performing well, yeah, Super's 4 and 10 is quite dreadful. It frankly should be better than that. Oh. But the fact that he still picked up 3 kills that inarguably saved the round for his team is enormous. You were oohing because Nay almost lost his life in that first battle with a minute off of the clock.
Yep. And I mean, Soniqs, they have really been in the driver's seat regarding opening kills the last 3 rounds at least. That's where Elevate has been struggling to find their man advantage, but they got utility. They got shields, they got mirror windows, they got ground. And Soniqs, when you're in this position of max OT, it's the final round, and you're on the attacking side, that's when the stress and the pressure really starts building because you need to act. You need to take this round with your hand and win it. You cannot sit around, you cannot wait. You need to be the one deciding when to go, where to go, and how to go. Right now it's looking like a similar situation where we got 2 players outside Jacuzzi Breach. Wherever Super is, that's usually where the execute comes from. Grixer now on the windows as well, kind of confirming it will be a similar situation of that of the past. It'll be a Jim execute, Grixer. Nay, solo on health.
This is the bomb site that Elevate are perfect on. There are 2 victories, 0 losses, and so much of it is off-site. The Soniqs get bogged down in this cache CCTV quagmire that Elevate creates, and SQ cannot turn their attention to the bomb site. They have to do that this time, and there's the first pick on Norexin. Another body on Jacuzzi Balcony could have been found. Yeti repelling in, that's information known. DCH taken out, Nay still low on HP. Yeti in the middle of the bomb site, he sees the Maestro from the back, that's another pick. Pivoting over towards construction, Soniqs sweeping up. It looks like they'll be able to do it. Down goes Kansan, but that's information. Nay on 1 HP. Diffuser in the hands of Super. Firing through the wall. He's got the diffuser down, and Nay knows how tough this will be. An almost impossible situation. Definitely not possible. The Soniqs, boy, oh boy, I hope you like suffering, Soniqs fans, because that was one hell of a comeback. My heart's beating, I'm sure yours is as well. The Soniqs take the second map, 8-7, and like that, a more comfortable map for the Soniqs awaits as both of these teams now are tied up.
Now we're almost in a situation of who can really go the furthest, right? Because it is getting tiring for these players to again and again and again play round after round after round. And if you're not used to best of 3s, if you have less experience, I start fearing a little bit for Elevate. As much energy as they are showcasing on the player cams between these rounds, going all the way to a 3rd map after being a match point, after having the lead for so long. Soniqs, they needed 3 rounds in a row just to go to OT. Then they had to win 2 of the 3. They did it. Now, well, after the break, it will be Oregon time. So in just a moment, we'll get there. But talking about that map of Clubhouse, quite ridiculous, if I can say so myself.
Very ridiculous. Of the last 6 rounds that were played, Soniqs took 5 of them. For a map that was going back and forth, that is an incredible burst of momentum and strength displayed from the Soniqs. We talked about respect for these teams, and the Soniqs have absolutely earned it after that map. Oregon will settle the score between these two teams, and we want to get there just as much as you do. Don't touch that browser. We'll be back in just a few minutes. Well, what a comeback that was from the Soniqs on map number 2. Some struggles on map 1. They fall short on their own map pick. Second map, they're behind, and it certainly seems like it's over, but they knew something that we didn't do. Of the last 6 rounds, Soniqs take 5 of them, and now we have Oregon to settle the score between these two teams. What for you was the big standout on Clubhouse?
I mean, can I say Super getting 4 kills, 3 of them basically defining 2 separate rounds back-to-back on those basement defenses. Super defining factor in gunplay and getting those important kills of the entire matchup to take his team into OT, then to get a map in OT. We see the map summary, we see the stats. Any outliers? I mean, Grixler, 16 and 8 plus 8, 80% cost, equal on the opening kills, 2 for 2. I would say Grixler, Kansan, Yeti, Super. Honestly, every player from the Soniqs really showed up. Similar fashion from the side of Elevate. Sure, Sapper didn't really push through into OT. That's when he started slowing down. But Onigiri, really good on the entry, started finding ground. DCH extending on the defense, roaming on the map solo bolo. Nay, again, entries and Nerix, the flex player for the team, playing so many different operators, really making good work, especially on those basement attacks with the Jaggle and then with the Ying.
Nobody was really costing their team in those rounds. And I think that when you get to this level, we're here at the final 16 teams, that's what you're going to come to expect. You're going to see these teams with well-rounded rosters, and the one who always ends up in the crosshairs of criticism is Super. 5 and 10 puts him on very similar footing to Sapper. Super's rating just a tiny bit above. Again, Super, a lot of what he contributes is off of the scoreboard, so it's really hard for us as disconnected observers to be able to see what's going on and be able to hear what's going on inside of their comms, inside of their matchup, and how he can settle the team down. That's Clubhouse, though. So both teams have now won each other's map pick. We go to Oregon. This is, again, another map, like Clubhouse, that the Soniqs are very comfortable on. It's a tiebreaker map, so it should be more even than what we saw on the first 2 maps, but hard-pressed to find a more even matchup than Clubhouse, which goes back and forth and goes all the way to 15 rounds.
Yeah, so just to summarize the history of Oregon so far for Soniqs, in the very first opening game, they played against Empire, it was 7-8, they lost it, they basically had a very big lead, it was like their first game here, very big surprise with Empire, well, they did a reverse sweep and they ended up beating Soniqs on it. Then against Sandbox, they won 7-0, complete clean sweep, first 7-0 at this entire event. That was Soniqs who did that. And then they've played it in the very last game, which was against M&M, where Soniqs had a 7-5 victory as well. So they've won it 3 times. They've won it 2 times, almost 3 times with that one game that should have been theirs, but wasn't. Meanwhile, on Elevate, well, they played the map once, and they won it. And the situation was against TSM. On their last matchup of the group stage, they won 8-7, and if I can recall correctly, it was an absolute ranked match of a game. Where Elevate were nobody on side, running around, drop-shotting, proning, hip-firing, doing crazy things, and TSM kind of crumbling because they allowed Elevate to dictate the pace. So if you're Soniqs, you need to match Elevate. Do not let them dictate the pace of this game, especially not when the Elevate is on the defensive side. And they're going to do the same thing 3 rounds in a row. Finger off the board. You mentioned it, Parker. Target ban, and it's really been working out for them, to be honest. I like this.
It absolutely has. It's knocked the Soniqs off their stride. The Soniqs on attack only mustering up a single win on Villa. They went 1-5. On Clubhouse, much more even, 3-3. And on Clubhouse, a map that historically is very good for the defense, but Soniqs and a lot of other teams here proving that they can play quite well on attack. A 3-3 scoreline might not be what you're looking for on Clubhouse as an attacker. You might want a little bit more than that. How much does Finca throw them off when it comes to Oregon? Well, teams love their LMGs here on Oregon, whether it be a Zofia with the LMG, whether it be a Capitao with the LMG, and we see Capitao on Oregon. Especially if you're going to take Laundry, you want to use those smokes off in the closet. You want to use it off where the hallway that leads to Freezer is, so that you can walk in and force the defenders to either pick uncertainty through the smoke or falling back and playing safer angles while conceding parts of the bomb site. That said, Elevate will spend banned their third map on defense in a row. They got those first bans, joining the Finka as a Jackal, Valkyrie, and Wamai. We've already spoken about Wamai's impact. On a map like this, especially if you're defending downstairs, you're going to see a lot of Jaeger and a Rooney, Elevator running both of them. And guess what the Soniqs like to do on this map? They love running a single hard breach or a secondary hard breach, in the sense that an operator is going to have access to those hard breach gadgets. And I have no doubt that Super is going to be bringing 2 of the can openers, which is displayed at the top right of your screen.
He will. It's guaranteed, confirmed. We've seen this before. So last time Soniqs played the map, it was Super who was playing between Ying and Buck. And no matter what operator of those two he was playing, he always had the secondary hard breach gadget, the can opener, as we call it. And that allows you to attack very, very fluid on Oregon. You can get the hatches, if it's a basement attack, you can get the closet walls, etc. If it's a top floor attack of kitchen, or of kit storms rather. And the operator itself, the Ying, that speaks to the execution that Soniqs love to play around. The Buck, again, it speaks to the dynamic flexibility nature of the Buck. You can now do stuff vertically. And Super, in a rare case, is actually a semi-entry on Oregon, because you have an operator that you need to do stuff with on the front. And sure, he doesn't run in first, but he's enabling his team to do so, not by droning, but by providing the gadget and basically starting the execute. And with the Jackal ban coming out, that's a target ban for Soniqs. I'm curious if they're going to be roaming heavily against Elevate once they get there. But first we have Soniqs attacking 6 rounds in a row. Rexon droning up above, Kansan taking small tower. Making our way through the map, Elevate not contesting really. It's going to be pretty free real estate as Grixer now taking big tower. Soniqs very isolated, but that's okay because there is no danger. Isolation means that you can drone out faster, but I mean sometimes when you're alone, you die. Sapper, opening kill onto Kansan. I'm not sure if he walked down the staircase or exactly what happened there, but either way, he has a single point of health on the smoke. And in fact, it was that freezer stairs contestation, so yeah. Being 1 health on smoke is, well, you're alive, your gadget still exists, but it's going to be very hard to challenge any gunfights now with the SMG-11 and the shotgun. A single bullet, or in fact a quarter of a bullet, will take you out. No Thunderbird, no Doc, no healing.
Thunderbird is an operator that pops up on Laundry Supply Room defenses, but you need to find where in that lineup you want it to go, right? Because you're going to need some kind of gadget denial, a Kaid, maybe a mute, etc. A lot of teams like to run with that, and then you're going to need at least 1 denial operator. A lot of teams like 2, Wamai, Jaeger, or a Rooney. You need to pick 2 of those. A smoke is almost always a requirement for this bomb site. That leaves you with only 1 option, and your flex pick is a Mira this round in the hands of Nirix.
I mean, it's not a bad operator.
Oh, no, not at all. I'm just saying.
No, you're right. You're pretty locked in, right?
Yes.
4 operators are a must-have. 1 operator is not a must-have. And the Mira is great in this situation. Sure, you got the mute to follow up as well, really making sure that nobody can breach them. But joke's on you, Soniqs, they don't play Hibana, they don't play the Ace, they just have the can opener and the Maverick. So these Mira windows will be a challenge. They do have flashbangs, they have 1 smoke, they have 2 grenades, they have the Ying and Dela gadget. They have every single possibility of breaking apart the defense, and they have to do so from freezer and laundry and back. They're going to be attacking from all 3 fronts, and it's going to be happening right now.
Very quickly, there go the smokes, but a smoke of his own is Sapper, still on 1 HP, getting very aggressive. Onigiri with 1 kill. Look at Sapper on the ground, but he doesn't see them. He looks in the wrong direction. A 2nd kill before Rexon silences him. Super's been down, so it's Rexon in a 1v2. There goes Nay, a 1v1, as DCH is also down. They're just bleeding out on the floor. Onigiri in such low HP. There he goes with the final kill, 10 seconds, and Rexon capitalizes and an ace to start map 3. Richie, my boy, take them all.
What is happening? We're picking right back up where we left off on the previous map of Clubhouse. Rexon activated, Grixer activated, Super, they're all activated. But that round in particular, it was Rexon who did it all. He got every single kill, he found every single pick, and in the 1v1, very unfortunately for Elevate, you chose to run away. You turned your back against the last remaining attacker, and you died absolutely for free. 5-0 for Rexon, hitting every single shot. Onigiri and Sapper got 2 each. Sapper hiding that smoke with 1 health, got really good value considering what was left of him, but that wasn't enough. Only 1 kill, should have gotten both. In fact, if you can choose in that situation, Sapper, going back in time, do you shoot Rexon or do you shoot Yeti? Well, knowing what happened now in hindsight, if we go back in time and you shoot Rexen instead, that entire round could be played out differently. I'm not sure if Yeti could have done that. He's a great player, don't get me wrong, but Rexen on the F2 is an absolute animal. Oh boy. That's the first one off the board. Fast start, quick start, incredibly electric round, if you will. Energetic, fast-paced, everything. Going now up to Kid Storms instead. It's going to be a similar situation where Elevate, they're playing utility, they're bringing shields, they're bringing a Rooney, and she has really seen a surge in play rate, which you touched a little bit upon at the end of Clubhouse. Both teams now bringing her. And again, it makes good sense on Oregon. It is a map where you have a couple of ways into the bomb site, got a couple of doors, a couple of windows, really only one breach, right? And DCH doing the same thing as before, sitting somewhere off the bomb site and trying to get sneaky. Has a small punch in that barricade for a small angle into spawn, but nobody challenges, nobody sees it, nobody knows, nobody's the wiser. Grixer sneaking himself almost into sight, doesn't go all the way through. There's no Onigiri to stop him, but gets in a completely free kill onto Onigiri, and he was basically in trophy in 25 seconds.
Very fast for the Nook to get up there, and we've seen what Grixer can accomplish on this particular operator and the way that it's played role-wise on the team. We saw it on Villa
Rat.
way back in the day. It is a rat operator, and we don't say that to disparage Grixer. It's actually quite a compliment. When somebody calls you a rat, it's because you're usually effective.
Yeah. I mean, if you're not doing anything useful, that's just you baiting your team in a corner. If you're a rat, you're getting a lot of value, and you're annoying, you're frustrating. It's like, oh, this guy's going to be in this corner again, and when I walk by him, well, I have to check it. I have to join. I have to feel the fact that his presence on the map could be anywhere. That's the Nook. That's Grixer right now. They did it one round on Villa. It worked out really, really well, and now in the second round, they're doing it again on Oregon.
First pick in the previous round went to Elevate. It didn't really matter because, well, Rexen decided to kill everybody.
True.
I wanted to see Rexen. Just blow her a kiss, Rexen. Just right at the camera, just after you get that ace. Just do it, but he doesn't do it.
Do it for her.
Do it for her, Rexen. Anyway, he's in a position to maybe get some more kills. F2 in hand. We talked about this Finka being off the board and how that forces the Soniqs to play a nice shot by Nirix, expecting Grixer inside of security. But Nirix is the one that's on the beat. The patrol does not work out in favor of the Soniqs, at least an answer back.
You can almost argue that Soniqs droning for the Nook doesn't really make a lot of sense because Nook is a stealthy operator and the drone kind of gives away that something might be happening. Again, we're not like 50-50, it may happen, it may not, but either way, Grixer off the board. Now 4 versus 4. Nades come out from Yeti on this big window, and Super looking to get active with this Yin Candela.
There's a grenade that goes in on a DCH. We saw it get hucked in, and the second will follow up. That expends the nades for Yeti. Still the player of Elevate down below of Nirix inside of security, isolated by Super. Yeti has the diffuser, so you can keep waiting. As long as the Mozzie's off site, that leaves just Sapper to try and hold down this dorm's bomb site. Nirix pressured from Super, and Nitro Sokozavi kills himself. That's not exactly what you want, Nirix. Not at all. 1 HP for Sapper now in the middle of dorms, and he's finished off by Super on the stairs. SQ very quick on these two attacking rounds, looking way more comfortable than at any point on the previous two maps, and they're up 2-0.
I was fearing Elevate kind of running out of steam because it has been, I'm not going to say like a very long series, but it's been a relatively long series going max OT on that previous map of Oregon, and it's going to be a long of Clubhouse, and it's going to be a long Oregon as well if you don't start picking up rounds, because to get the W, you gotta go all the way up and catch up, play the comeback, you're on defense. You should be getting at least a couple of rounds here, right? We're gonna go back downstairs, we're gonna 6-pick the mirror once again, similar fashion of that first round, and Super sticking his guts on the Ying. It's been working so well for them so far, and I wouldn't say Super has been like the defining player, nor playing the most defining operator of Ying so far. I mean, it was a Rexen getting an ace the first round, and that second round, Super was down below, basically fighting Nerix or blinding Nerix inside of servers, barely even fighting him. So the Ying hasn't been like the defining factor. They haven't been playing around that with a massive need, but it is an option for them. And of course, if you Elevate, you have to respect it. Right now, they're not necessarily respecting that because there is no Warden being brought up. Or Maya spent. You only got the Jaeger. And the thing is, when you got Super, a support player who's not known for the best gunplay on an operator that can really impact the round such as Ying, then you have Rexen, Yeti, Kansen, and Grixer on your side. All phenomenal aimers. Sapper, DCH, Onigiri, Nerix, Ney. None of those players are bad. They've all shown exceptional gun skill throughout Invitationals, but right now in Oregon, they're falling a little bit short. It's actually your support anchor of Sapper with the most kills and the only player to find the opening pick, or sorry, the second player to find the opening pick, as Nerix found one previously. So we gotta see DCH, we gotta see Nerix, gotta see Nate back in action, but Grixer doing the same thing again. 15 seconds into the round, walks down the tower stairs, gets another absolute free pick, and honestly, if I remember correctly, it was Onigiri both times.
It absolutely was, and Onigiri had some issues back in Villa and at the start of Clubhouse as well, as you talked about, being the first player on his team to fall in too many rounds. Onigiri's a standout performer, but I think that most of the contributions and points he's putting up in the round are quite quietly done. And I know that if you watch traditional sports, you get tired, so endlessly tired about so-and-so's quietly having the best season of their career. No, I mean, in this particular instance, Onigiri has not made a lot of waves, has not been a flashy player, but has been a rock for this team in this matchup, and is really allowing the rest of the team to flourish. Dying early on is not the right side of where you want to be. So that's about the first half of round number 3. Grixer and on this Nook can get in, do a ton of damage, get out very cleanly. Buy your team some time and breathing room, and then when the execute happens, you gotta find a little area where they're not watching. Maybe bottom of those laundry stairs if your execute is happening towards E-Box and towards Freezer.
Yeah, Soniqs very clearly playing for the opening kill man advantage, and I always say Oregon it really favors having more players alive, specifically because there are so few injuries for all the attackers. The more guns you can have facing the same direction, the better off you are. Soniqs, previously on basement, it was a 2-people freezer, 2-people laundry attack. That's all that happened. This time with 5 versus 4, you can do even more damage. You got the Ying, you got Grixer on the Nook, you can be sneaking while being chaotic at the exact same time.
Grixer's on the back stairs. He's not really connected to the push because most of the Soniqs players are looking over towards Freezer, where so much of the emphasis from those Flores drones have gone. They cleared out some of the wall, they opened up the Goyo shield, and now they've taken out the ADS to boot. Nades can get tossed down quite easily. There's a drone on the hatch, and they know that the smoke is playing by the Freezer door, so that's at least one player of the remaining 4 from Elevate that they know the exact spot of. Another as well, inside of the back closet. And Rexham with 6 kills and not a single death. His position will be given away by that proximity alarm. Sapper on the ground. He's there to greet them. They have not cleared him out. He's good enough for 1 kill, traded back, but the Soniqs continue their advantage. Steam rolling into the bomb site. Kansan is now down. The diffuser from Super in hand getting planted. It's all incumbent upon Elevate to stop this. Nay getting calls, and he needs to swing in, as does Nerix. There it goes. Super is off it, and it's a last-second clutch from Elevate to give them their very first round.
Absolutely. I mean, what happened there essentially is that both the players from Soniqs inside of Freezer both were injured. That means you only really have manpower on the laundry stairs. That's not enough because you want to be coming from at least 2 angles, 3 if possible. Otherwise, as I talked about earlier, right before they execute, as a defender, you're just going to have so many weapons watching the exact same doorway. You have the manpower, and that's what happened. Super was overpowered, trying to plant, realized he couldn't, came off it, but had to fight 2 players at the exact same time, and that's not going to bode well for you. Good clutch by Elevate to claw back the round, what looked to be greatly going in favor of Soniqs. That means we're now 2-1 in scoreline, still on Soniqs' side. It's still their map to win so far. Elevate needs to show more, and they're going to be doing that in the Meeting Kitchen bomb site. Still not a lot of dining being played in these series. Meeting has been the preference for most teams. Been played the most. Decent win rate, if I recall correctly. I can check the stats in just a moment, but it's been played out a couple of ways. Elevate, they like to play it where on the stage wall, they have 1 wall reinforced and wall open. They actually had a rotate, but they changed their mind. They have now reinforced both walls instead, going for a more passive approach. Jammer will be covering it. That means Yeti has to get there or Attrition will have to do the work. Opposite in stairs and attic, however, there is the rotate. So now I am wondering, is Elevate going to be playing inside a big tower tier 3? Or are they just making that rotate to say, you know what, attackers, welcome, come on in, walk through this rotate for me because I made it for you. Which seems kind of odd because normally you'd want to reinforce those walls, but in this case, different approach.
Well, it's a meeting defense now for Elevate. They've tried dorms upstairs. They didn't like it. They tried laundry twice. They finally win it. At site is locked for at least 2 more rounds. Laundry will once again emerge in round number 6, and Elevate could potentially close out the first half, but they've got some ground to make up. The Soniqs, after they won round 1, finally took the lead in the series. As we talked about for the first 2 maps, the Soniqs at no point have led. They still didn't lead. They might have won map 2, but they still didn't have an actual lead to their name. It took almost 2.5 hours after the start of this matchup for the Soniqs to gain a lead on Elevate. I'd like to again just tell you, because that is a fantastically long period of time.
It is, and I mean, if you Elevate, you got the attic rotate, and you know, Soniqs are not attacking big tower at all. It's going to be a master side, big window kind of take. If you're Soniqs, you want to clear off the top floor so you can start doing vertical play. You do not have a sledge, you do not have a box, so once you gain the ground, it'll be Kansen on these Retero drones that'll do the job, if anything. Yeti looking to get in, holding an angle, waiting for Elevate to make the first move. You got both walls inside of Kid Storms reinforced, but that's where it's nice being a Maverick, because you can just make work with the torch. DCH has to fight a lot of players at the same time. So far, no engagement. We're still waiting around. No breach has been going out, but DCH drops down. He says, you know what? It's fine. Minute and 15 to go. You can have top floor. You have limited verticality. It'll all be down to Kansen. Sophia, she does have breaching charges too, so she can help along. And Soniqs, they have to decide what are they going to do. We're waiting. We're standing still. We're droning. They do not know that DCH dropped that hatch into sight. We're going to be seeing, once they figure it out, what's the next step. Here we go. Verticality. Drones coming out. That's going to do damage. Opening up the floor and giving you lines of sight. It's going to be a kitchen focus. They want to get down there. They want to plant. There is a member of Elevate hiding, I believe, inside a small tower. I believe it's Nay. So he's sitting all the way across the map. There he is. So he can be a defining factor and maybe be a thorn in the side of Soniqs.
I wonder if Soniqs was not expecting a meeting tick, because they didn't bring a sledge or a buck, and we know that Super likes to play buck here. He's going to stay on that Ying with the Candelas, but you desperately need to take the floor apart over the B bomb site. There go the Candelas, by the way. Super wants to drop. There's nobody down on the bomb site right now. There goes Onigiri. Very first pick comes with 15 seconds left in the round, and the fragging will continue for the foreseeable future. It's Nerix to get in on the fight, as well as DCH. Diffuser in hand, but nobody sees Nay as he breaks into the bomb site. Pistol out amidst the smoke. Yet he falls off. He's as good as done, and Grixer will not be able to clutch. He's got a goo mine in his foot. Slowed down. Elevate finds their second round in a row.
Now it's Nay. He chose to hide inside a small tower for a minute and a half straight. Did not move a muscle. You might be wondering, is that worth it? Like, what are you doing? Why aren't you helping your team? But the thing is, Nay was playing for the long game. He knew that once the execute came out from Soniqs, that then he could make his move. If you're playing inside a dining or shower hallway or server or bottom white stairs in that area, well, Soniqs is likely to drone it. That means they know you are there. When Soniqs droned out dining, it seemed free. Nobody was even nearby. No sounds, no audio, no visuals. It's clear. So they're going to throw out their smoke grenades. They're going to yank into the little bomb site. They're going to drop down. But then Nay, his part now comes in. He makes his way through small tower, into dining, into kitchen, gets the flank, denies a player, hides in the smoke, secures the bomb site and the diffuser case, and eventually Elevate, they win the round. They were terror drones, the Sophia breaching charges, did a good job on the verticality, and honestly, they did a good enough job to kind of be supplementing that of a sledge or a bug. It was alright, sure, you could do a little bit more, but they got what they wanted, and arguably, they got what they needed. It was just Nay doing Nay things. That one kill he has on the board, bottom left of your screen, is a massively impactful kill, arguably speaking to most of a round victory. So good job, Nay. Keep it up, buddy. C4 in hand, Nerix with that bulletproof camera. No Dokkaebi on the board, because Soniqs do not play that operator. That means the cameras, they will belong to who chose to play them. That means the defense, they have the advantage, as they have more information than the attackers in terms of utility. But of course, we all know attackers, they start with 10 drones, and right now Soniqs, they've managed to make 4 survive. I mean, they have 9 total currently on the board.
Well, we talked about back and forth on Clubhouse, and it's still back and forth now, but instead of it being 1 round, it's 2, Nick. So, Soniqs, what are you going to do to get back up there? Good value from the Twitch drone of Rex, and started things off with an ace, by the way. If you didn't tune in at the beginning, it was a hell of a performance. Just commandeer, bomb site, and then pinch everybody in the process. Another Dorms attempt by Elevate, unsuccessful the very first time. That was one of the 2 rounds that Soniqs took to start off this map. They've led for 3 rounds, and now they've tied it up, or they lost it as Elevate tied it up back in round number 4. Nay is in a rat angle. We talk about this an awful lot. Super's position has been given away. Nay still knows that there's somebody there, and on to drones he'll go. Nay certainly heard this. You have to be wary that nobody's in this position. Super obviously frustrated with that one. I can only imagine how much of a tilter that is. Elevate the very first pick. Super down for the count, but he doesn't hold the diffuser, so that's at least good for the Soniqs. You have lost the Candelas and the hard breach gadget, though, and that is particularly bad.
Yeah, the good thing for Soniqs, though, is that now Super can sit on drones and or spectate his players and do the leadership role from the grave. He doesn't have to focus on moving and shooting, so now full brain power activated mode for him. Grixer looking for the flank here. Good coordination from Soniqs. One inside a small tower, one dining hallway, sees the head, does some damage, get the injured, doesn't realize it's a second, but the LMG, you don't gotta stop shooting anytime soon.
And there you have it. They've at least isolated the mute in that corner. Nay was the one to get the kill on the Super, and you best know that they're going to want to avenge their teammate and keep their eyes trained on him. But the problem is that Soniqs don't have a numbers advantage, and now they've actually lost any equal footing. This Onigiri, who doesn't die early, is able to put up a point of his own. A second to him now from Kansan to die. Nay swings, but it's 2 players from the Soniqs still left upright. And Rexon gets kill number 7 for him.
Diffuses Armory stairs, bombsite is top floor on Kid Storm, so this looks very funky, a little bit weird, but Rexon and Grixer both making their way to the same destination, but one player downstairs at a classroom, I believe. Yeah, Onigiri lets them slip right by. That means he can play for a flank later on. They think somebody's in Armory, but nope, there is not. The flank will be coming in soon, 25 seconds to go, and now you gotta make your move.
And here it's gonna come right through Trophy. You got the shotgun pointed blank right at the doorway of Attic on the ground. There goes a smoke from the Twitch, providing crucial utility. Banshee goes off. Rexon looks to the right, but no, the shotgun is there, and Sapper gets them both. 3 rounds in a row for Elevate as they now gain the lead on Oregon.
Yeah, Onigiri actually not choosing to flank the moment that they realized that both players of Soniqs were below that default Armory cam. He actually ran back to bomb side through the white stairs. He thought, you know what, if I'm going to be flanking and you guys die on site, well, I'm going to be flanking and retaking. I don't want to do that. So he made the safer choice after getting 2 kills for himself and went back. In case that anything went wrong, he would be there on the white stairs to help his teammates. Of course, that wasn't the case. Sapper held down the fort, proning with a shotgun in hand from that Attic monster door. That's like something that we have. So for casting, Park, I'm curious. Attic, is that one callout or multiple? Because in competitive play, you got the Attic drop, you know, where you got the door leading to Trophy and the rotating to Kid Storms. We call that monster, the dropping part, and the upper part leading to Big Tower where the hatch is, that is Attic. Do you have a differentiation? I
mean, I think as casters, you often go for the full room rather than very specific callouts. I know teams prior, especially prior to the yellow ping coming in, teams had hyper-specific callouts. Almost every corner of the room had a specific name for it because when you're giving those callouts to your teammates, you can't, on a map like Cafe, you can't just say piano. The piano portion of the map is enormous. You've got Pixel, you've got couches, you've got the actual piano platform, you've got that little ticket booth, that small bar, you've got the red wall, you got the doorway leading into Cigar. All of those areas can have somebody playing in them. As a team, you need to know exactly where the player is that you're going to go after. As a caster, there's a visual component, Nick. People can see that there's a player inside a piano. They don't need to know the nitty-gritty as to where somebody is standing all of the time. Now, it can help. But overall, that whole part of the map is Attic. And a lot of times, if the compass at the bottom of your screen says Attic, that's what we go off of. You can be a little bit more specific, but by and large, people get the general gist of it.
Interesting. Thank you for...
Not even for yourself, but for you at home, just in case you're curious. Any aspiring casters or people watching who want to know more of the inside baseball of casting, there you go.
No, I thought it was a good question to ask because there are really different ways to go about it. And of course, different casters as well, different duos, they can also be more specific or less specific. Just like some casters are more fast-paced and energetic, some are more strategical, or they have fun facts, or they have jokes perhaps. What we do here, well, we just talk about the game in front of us. Sometimes it's jokes, sometimes it's information. Try and do a bit of all of it, because then we kind of get, all the dots covered. Speaking of dots covered, Yeti might have had a yellow ping or at least some sort of information. Amazing grenade, good damage, and that's Ney ratting off the board.
Ney also had a nitro cell on the ceiling of dorms. I don't know what it was there for. I don't know if he would fall off and then maybe hit it as somebody walked through the doorway, but for Ney, I guess you threw that nitro cell of it will have no real effect on this round. First pick goes in favor of the Soniqs. It's the same position Yeti was in before as he opens up the freezer hatch. He's in security. Sapper tosses out one toxic canister to get him off of the spot. There's only one remaining. This is not ideal timing. A single toxic canister with 90 seconds left. Not where you want to be on a basement defense.
No, and I mean, if you elevate right now, it's going to get hard. But again, this is a defender-sided map, right? Arguably, and the basement in particular, you need to really be able to do everything in your power to execute flawlessly. No matter if it's 5v4 or 5v3 as an attacker, you need everything to go your way. But Yeti, he finds another. This time not with a grenade, but with the weapon himself. That's Sapper off the board. One toxic canister in the grave. Onigiri trades it right back.
And what a shot that is from Onigiri, but the Soniqs still have the advantage, and they can push towards the bomb site, pinch out, and flush the last remaining players of Elevate. Plenty of time for them to work with. 1 minute to go, just shy of that. Utility going in as well. Kansan with one of those Rotero drones, already been successful to push that laundry component of the defense away. DCH trapped inside of Closet with Nerix and Onigiri in the back of the bomb site by Big Tower. 30 seconds left, and both of those players of Onigiri and Nerix will have to wade through the smoke. SQ want to ensure that Elevate are fighting blind. That's exactly why the Ying is in, and the last Candela will get tossed out as well. Diffuser needs to get planted by Super as the Soniqs wipe out the players from Elevate. It's on the shoulders of Onigiri, who now breaks even. But he's got one inside a freezer. The two remaining players from Soniqs, they can watch as that diffuser gets planted, and 45 seconds for Super to get out of there, with Onigiri now very, very far back. This first half certainly looking like a 3v3. Elevate a spirited effort. 3 rounds in a row, but it looks like it ends down in Laundry and Supply, and it does indeed, with Rexon having a tremendous start and an almost equally good exit. You talked about how this is a defender-sided map. The fact that the Soniqs on attack just took 3 rounds, that's not too bad, Nick.
Nice catch, Greg. So in the player cam, he dropped the the bottle to his water bottle. He grabbed it mid-air. Really nice reflection, or reflexes rather there. On that last round we just saw, something very interesting and very well done from Soniqs. Super was on the laundry stairs all alone. He tossed the Yinkandelas into that hole into the mirror window in small box that allowed Kansan to push up with Grixer and punch the mirror window, rendering it useless. And then they had the numbers advantage. They had previously won the gunfights, right? Yeti got the opening kill with the nade onto Ney, who was roaming up above. Then Yeti dropped the hatch or pushed down the stairs in freezer, got a second one. Then you set the tone. 4 versus 3, and then you use your utility to deny the most crucial position. DCH, playing inside a small box, could not see a thing for 30 seconds straight. Last 2 players from Elevate were back deep on the side, inside pillar area and B-bomb side. Really well done from Soniqs. They get the round, 3-3, tied up once again. No one really taking a convincing lead. Soniqs, it took the first 2 rounds. Elevate came back, 3 in a row, and then the third one went to Soniqs with a plant as well. We all saw what happened in the very first one. Rexon got the ace. If you guys didn't see this, you can go back a little bit, skip back, see the ace on that very first round. It's the very last 30 seconds or so. Almost like a 1 versus 3, I believe. Then come back and watch the round. It's about to unfold in front of you.
I actually don't think Rexon got that one of those first picks in the last 2 rounds. I think it was actually Grixer who got the pick because Rexon's kills did not jump. There is some confusion from time to time where if you do most of the damage and then there's a down and it gets secured by somebody else, technically the other player will end up getting it for doing all of that damage so as to not aid and abet the kill stealers, so to speak.
Yeah, KS can mean 2 things. Kill secured or kill steal. And depending on who you ask, they'll have a very different take on it, because I will say you kill secured it, right? You're my friend. But when you're solo queuing, there are no friends in the lobby. It's all enemies.
KS can also mean your former teammate.
Yeah, Niklas Castria, I believe, being German. We played together back in the pen today for a fair bit of time, actually. We played Go Force recently before I moved to Vegas, so good guy all around.
And he's a Pro League champion, not a world champion, though.
This again, Parker?
We don't need to start it. No, not at all. Very first attack for Elevate, very first defense for the Soniqs.
Oh.
Elevate loves this Dokkaebi pick. She brought out quite a bit on Villa. Same impact that we'll see on Oregon. Oregon, I think it's fair to say, more similarities to Villa than we'll see out of a map like Clubhouse. So if Elevate can find something here, the map that they know and loved of Villa, they're going to learn something from it and apply it to Oregon. But like we said, Oregon is a very comfortable pick for the Soniqs. A 7-8 scoreline on the first day against Empire for the Soniqs. 7-0 scoreline against Sandbox and 7-5 against M&M. If SQ beats Elevate here, then they will have a 2-0 record against APAC on this map and a 1-0 record, or 1-1 record against Europe. As well, we want to remind you that this is the upper bracket. So no matter what happens in this map, neither of these teams are going home. But one of them will move on to face Damwon Kia, the Korean team, and the other team will go down to the lower bracket to face the European team of Rogue.
So by winning, you're almost also losing. I'm not saying that you're guaranteed not to beat Damwon Kia, but they are looking as one of the scariest teams at this event, and they are an APAC team. I really hope that they can continue doing great, because it is a beautiful time now to see APAC finally get in the spot that they deserve. They've had a rough couple of years, but the last 6 months in particular, they are looking absolutely fierce and well worthy of being an invite.
Oh no, Super and having problems with Rotero drones in blue. Name a better combo. This was a problem that he had when Empire did this exact same strategy against them. And if you recall, there was a lengthy segment on the desk with both Jesse and Jacob extolling the virtues of not going AFK when a Rotero drone walks in or drives in. Grixer, the very first pick, onto Onigiri. There goes the Dokkaebi. A bit of a pause now from Elevate. We've seen Elevate have some struggles to find their footing, and with time ticking away, Rexen down for the count, Elevate have so much more to do. Super in this position, we called him a rat, but the nade goes off. Grixer with 2 kills, Super with 1 of his own. It's Nirix to die to Yeti, and the Soniqs regain the lead in this match.
Absolutely, that they do. Nicely held, but I mean, Elevate, the time was really slipping away, right? You push through blue with 15 seconds left. If you shift W at full speed, you'll barely make it to the bomb site alone. That's without the Banshees, the barbed wire, the enemies, the shields, the toxic babes, etc. That's just by sprinting. So you need more than that. You need more time, you need to clear more utility, you need to take more ground, and you gotta do it at least faster. Onigiri had has had a kind of rough Oregon so far. If Elevate has lost the opening player, let's say 6 times, I would argue or guess that Onigiri has fallen 4 of those 6 times. He's been the first victim of death a handful of times now, and we spoke on the very first map about the statistics of Elevate and how they have a lot of opening engagements, but they have low success rate. What that means is that very often you'll find the Elevate players, especially Ney and Onigiri, to be in the first combat of the round. But very often they also lose. And that is kind of what's happening right now, where, well, Grixer, he found him twice in a row. In the round we just saw, he was also the first player to fall. And it's happening time and time again. Onigiri in the arguably alright position, I suppose, but the wrong time and with no backup. Not trading 1 for 1, allowing Soniqs to get that 5 versus 4, get the man advantage, get the ground and get comfortable. And I think, if anything, right now, it's Elevate who has to kind of control the pace. I was worried that Elevate would do the same thing now as they did against TSM by running around the map and just taking crazy control. But it's actually Soniqs controlling the pace for most of this match. They found Ney on the lurk when they were on the attacking side, and now that Soniqs are in the defense, well, they can sit still and watch Elevate kind of crumble because time is running away from them. They're not acting fast enough, and Soniqs, they banned the Jackal, but they have not moved a muscle off the bomb side. Yeti is down below, but he's not even that far off. So I am curious, was the Jackal ban deliberate because you want to roam a lot, or just because it's a comfort pick for Elevate to move faster through the map?
I also think they like the gun a lot. When you put Nirix on that operator, he looks so confident. The C7E is a bit of a laser beam, Nick. Let's be completely frank here. I don't want to use the word crutch because I think there are definitely...
All right.
I don't know what happened to Rexen.
Nice shot.
I don't know what happened to Rexen.
Wait.
Or what's happening in chat.
They're thanking themselves and each other, but it's all Soniqs, I think.
I don't know. Anyway, I don't know what happened to Rexon after map 2, but this man has positively leveled up. Both Rexon and Grixer can often trade strengths on this team when it comes to killing, and while Grixer has a good game, Rexon might have a bad one. All of a sudden, it's Rexon to top the scoreboard. That level of skill on this SQ team and the flexibility again, and I know that we overuse the word flexibility quite often, but it really does apply here. The flexibility of this Soniqs roster is really what helps them be so good domestically and is now starting to pay dividends internationally.
I will say though, from Elevate, like Nerix being able to flex onto so many different operators has been a crucial factor of their success at international play, especially earlier against Soniqs on Clubhouse. So while Soniqs have a flexible roster, so to speak, I do think that Nerix himself brings that same key element to his team of that of Elevate. But the one thing that Elevate isn't really bringing are their running shoes, because time once again is getting quite low. 45 seconds. I'll draw you guys a situation. We have Nerix in the big window, 2 players inside of Master, and Nade on white, but no, he's gone. 3 players left. It's 2 guys Master, 1 big window. You have almost no ground, and Saber is going to walk into the breach.
Every single map Elevate struggles in the later round. That is their biggest weakness, and it looks like it's happening yet again, getting fed to the meat grinder. That is the Soniqs. Saber's just flashed himself, by the way. Onigiri with the only kill for his team, and right now it looks like that might be it, and it is indeed. The Soniqs have now taken 3 rounds in a row, and this map is not quite as close as what we saw before, but the Soniqs are proving to all of their fans why you invest in us.
Yeah, and I will say, we get a tactical timeout here. It makes sense. I mean, momentum is slipping away if you're Elevate. If you're Soniqs, you want to keep the momentum. And we often speak about how you can take a tactical timeout, not just to favor yourself and talk about the game, but also just to like take away speed momentum from your opposing team. If you're Elevate right now, you want to slow down Soniqs. And yes, indeed, it has been confirmed. Elevate has called a tactical timeout, as you will see on your screen. I think it's a great time to do it. Makes perfect sense. If Soniqs win one more round, they are at match point, and we will see the exact same situation in reverse of what happened on Clubhouse. It was Elevate. They were up 6-3. And then Soniqs, they won 3 rounds in a row, took it to OT, and well, they ended up taking the map as well. Now Elevate, they want to make sure that they don't have to go through that exact same process, right? Secure the next round, go 5-4. That's alright, get one more, even back 5-5, and then you stop rolling again, if anything. Once that match point and map point timer hits the top center of your screen when you're a player, you know that there's this gamble between, well, risk versus reward. I can make a huge play that might work out in my favor, or I'll just die for nothing. And the more pressure that is on you, the less likely I would argue that you are to take it. So Elevate, do not let this pressure go against you. Soniqs themselves showed that even when pressure was against them, they showed up stronger. They used this as motivation to play even better. And that's how they got through Clubhouse. Now Elevate, got to do the same here in Oregon. Timeout has ended. Remember, both coaches and both teams can talk amongst each other when one team takes the timeout. So that doesn't mean that Elevate can talk with their coach and Soniqs can't. No. Joe, the coach of Soniqs, will also talk to his players while this is going on. And we see now Kansen 6ing onto Warden. Might be thinking, oh, last time the timeout came out, the Ying came on the board for Elevate, and they're fearing that that might be the case again, and they're respecting the possibility of Nerix being so flexible by just taking the Warden and saying, if the Ying is here, we're happy, and that's just our contingency. If you don't take it, it's fine. We got the MPX, 1.5x, we got a shield. We still get a lot of utility from the operator alone outside the gadget.
They like the Warden as well. This isn't the first time that we're seeing it pop up in this match. Warden, obviously, an extraordinarily good counter against that level of play that comes in from operators like Ying and the smokes that are prevalent too. And both of these teams have been liking their smokes. Both of these teams have been liking their flashes, not just as utility burn, Nick, but to actually flash opponents.
Yeah, there was that flashbang change where if a flashbang is within 8 meters in game, it will blind you whether you're looking at it or not. If you do look away, the blind duration is reduced by up to, I think, about 50% or half or so. And if you're looking straight at it, well, duration lasts for the full exact time. That means flashbangs now are quite lethal. Not that they will kill you themselves, but that they will help you basically get killed. As you cannot see, you cannot fight back. Statistically for Oregon, we see meeting hall kitchen being picked 55% of the time, whereas kitchen dining, not picked. The defensive win rate for kitchen meeting is 55, whereas on kitchen dining, it's only 43. So statistically, a slightly weaker bomb site, but it's more niche, right? It speaks to a different kind of defense and a different kind of attack. But Elevate, attacking the same way that Soniqs did against their meeting setup. They'll be clearing up above, taking trophy, taking attic. I'm gonna try and take Kit Storms, clear out that generator area. Right now, it's Nerix staring down this hallway.
Oh my, is that Yeti who's prone? Yes, he is. We talk about rats, and look at what he has in his hand. He's got the shoddy, but his leg just gets spotted. Oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no.
They know.
They absolutely know, and there goes a grenade. It'll pop him up, and Yeti is as good as dead. If Elevate can stretch out to a good enough lead in the first half of the round, then their biggest issue as a team in this match, which is the final 30 seconds, doesn't become as important. Bit of a miss from Nay on that work with the blowtorch. There's Super playing above, and he could have been spotted, but unfortunately, not a good window right in. Nade in hand from Nay, and try to drop it onto Super. There it goes, but no damage is done. Super getting much closer. There goes a Nitro Cell, but Nerix shoots it out of the air. Well played by Elevate. Both of these teams using their secondary gadgets to no avail.
Yeah, and basically now we see a better time management from Elevate. Gets punished back by Grixer. We're back to a 4-4-man score. Nay off the board in the Maverick. It might not be the end of the world because you've done the job. You've cleared out top floor. Your heart breach is no longer needed. But just like Soniqs, they might struggle a little bit of verticality. They only have 3 Retero drones to do as much destruction as possible. But their focus seems to be from meeting. They'll have to clear out that jammer from up above. Surely a yellow ping and floor bang will come out. Because, honestly, 40 seconds left, this wall has to get opened as fast as possible. That will allow you to plant and work your way through sight. And of course, on the defensive side, there are no smokes, there are no C4s, so once you get comfortable on the plant, nothing can really stop you.
Well, there goes another Retero drone. Shotguns primed and ready. First time that we're seeing this bomb site, by the way, and there's only 20 seconds left. The problem that Elevate has on these attacks is there's no real sense of urgency, but like that, they pick off Grixer and they drop Super down for the count, but Rexon and Kansan are in too. Because Super's down, it's Rexon to clutch out. He's been so phenomenal. He has to find these 2 kills for his team, and he creeps up. Diffuser being planted, and there's the calls in the midst of the smoke, but there's one player unknown, and it's holding the angle of Nerix. Elevate, after their timeout, they close the gap. They haven't tied it up just yet, but they're getting closer and closer.
No information available from Rexon. They knew where the planter was. The yellow ping came out. Super's injured body was crawling around, trying to gather as much intel as possible so Rexon could make the right decision. He chose to sprint, which rarely is the right decision, to be fair, because you cannot fight back, whether it's a player on the hatch, inside of security, or in meeting itself. Round in favor of Elevate, they're showing the blitz. That is obviously an intimidation factor, because now the side of Soniqs will have to fear the rush. In case you guys don't know at home, there's a very common strategy that involves blitz, where when you defend the basement bomb site, you will spawn construction and just rush through that double door into blue, straight into elbow. We see right here on your screen, and just annihilate any defender in this area. With this blitz being shown, now Soniqs, they have to be like, guys, this might be happening, it may not. Let's prepare for it. Let's have people in the right position, because if it does, we want to be able to answer back. It was a 6-pick. It is probably not going to happen. Onigiri went onto the O side. That's something that APAC has played a lot throughout this tournament, but we've seen it more from other regions as well. Earlier today, it was OXG that played it on Clubhouse themselves, and while it didn't really work or find much success, it's nice seeing more teams get comfortable and flexible on these new operators, because she's been out for a bit, but hasn't seen the most play until Invitationals. But then again, actually, I'm trying to think back. Was she allowed in stage 3?
Osa?
Yeah?
That's a very good question.
I don't remember.
I don't believe she was allowed in stage 3. I believe that she got opened up at the tail end of stage 3.
In that case, she's in a lot of play.
I mean, I think that's the case. I could be wrong, by the way, but obviously my timeline is not correct, if I am wrong, because Thorn just came out somewhat recently.
Yeah. So usually when a new operator comes out of Thorn, then the previous operator of Osa can be played. So you know what happened? I know what happened. I'm pretty sure that when Stage 3 ended, that's when Osa could see play. But there was no Stage 4. There's a gap between Stage 3 and Invite, and I assume that's where she got loud, and then...
If I remember correctly, and people are able to tell me if I'm wrong here, but I think the first opportunity that we saw with her was for the qualifiers.
Yeah, that would make sense.
So that was at the tail end of Stage 3. So we would have seen her for the qualifiers. I don't know if the regional finals would allow her to be played as well, whether they were played under those old Stage 3 rules or not. But we got to see her through the quals, as was talked about. And the one team that has absolutely loved her was CAG. They're not with us anymore. They got eliminated. They did not make it out of their group.
I always love putting you on the spot with these questions where it's like, oh, you ready for this? Yeti, are you ready for that? Nay, off the board. That is going to be, once again, the Maverick. Just like the previous round, you're going to be losing a bit of heart destruction. You lose some grenades. But Sapper has the backup of Thermite, but it's going to be limiting you on this basement attack.
Yet he's still roaming with that DMR in hand. The damage that can be done with a Rooney. A two-shot with that DMR to the body,
boom.
You are as good as dead. The damage that these guns do is actually quite crazy, and it's funny to see all of these traditionally attacker-sided weapons, the attacker weapons, get given to the defense. The AUG on Wamai, the DMR on Aruni, the Spear on Thunderbird. These weapons being given to them, it just goes to show you how much damage the attacker weapons do. Super, again, having some difficulty inside of blue, and because of that, the Rotero drone gets maximum value.
Yep.
Blows open the shield inside of Elbow, and now the ADSs will go as well. This prompts Super to throw out those toxic canisters, maybe a bit earlier than he wanted. In terms of reinforcements, there's none left, so they can't... Oh, did I hear a reinforcement getting used on Elbow? Is that what I heard? Yes. So the last one was going up right as I was saying that. Elbow is now secured. Still, we have the Osa of Onigiri on this back stairs platform. Rexon will have to tussle, but there's a shield there to stop him. He sees it. This is going to be a tough spot. Gets baited out by the presence inside of blue. Elevate find 2 kills. Yet he answers back. He's got both of them with the Soniqs. All of a sudden, these teams are even. Elevate again struggling with the clock. 10 seconds to go. Super shotgun out. Onigiri off of this spot walking in. Osa drop from Super. He goes positive, and he's got a ping, but he doesn't need the kill. PMM in hand, but it's Super to seal the deal and send his team to match and series point.
Did you say Super goes positive during that kill?
I felt it was such an occasion that it needed to be called out in the midst of a gunfight.
Well, in that case, Super is not positive, and not just that, but +1. He also got the following kill, and there's something about Super when the rounds really matter showing up in this series. And I'll also say, reinforcing off that elbow position was crucial, right? You're limiting the amount of angles the attackers can come from, so they can only go into pillar, through the hallway on the double door, and the single door in Xbox or E-box or Electric, whichever you want to call that room with the hatches to meeting, and that makes it so much easier to be a defender, especially when you have a shotgun on smoke. The biggest counters is Super, which I'm sure you guys are aware of at this point, are those Rotero drones from the Flores. There's just something about them where, like, maybe it's like the hertz that the sound waves are coming from that Super cannot hear. Maybe it's the color of the drone he cannot see. There's just something where they will always go by him and take out the elbow shield and the ADSs time and time again in 2 different matchups. It's been a very consistent factor, but it ultimately didn't matter. They prevailed the round, they clawed it back, and Super 6 and 5, Rexon 12 and 6 as well. Really, everyone but Kansen dropping massive amounts of kills. But Kansen, he hasn't had to do it because other people are doing it for him. Meanwhile, on Elevate, it's a pretty even shift for the most part. We got 9 and 8 and 7 up top, 4 DCH in the middle, and Nay down in the bottom on 2 kills. Nay and Onigiri, on the opening death situation, they've had a really rough game. Onigiri, however, also getting a lot of picks himself. But Nay on this Maverick hasn't found a ton of success, but Nerix will this time fall instead. Soniqs with opening kill after opening kill. It's Grixer this time around, and that'll be his 10th kill of Oregon.
Oh boy, 2 double digits now for the Soniqs. Yeti awfully close. In terms of kills, they really do tell a story, and that very first pick for the Soniqs is good. The conversion rate for first picks for the Soniqs has actually been quite strong here on this map. They've only lost 2 rounds where they've gotten that very first pick, and those came when they were on attack back in rounds 3 and 4.
Interesting. So that's actually a good step for Soniqs because we spoke of it earlier where they're extremely average to like convert the opening kill into a round. But in this particular situation, they've managed to successfully increase their conversion rate. What that means, like conversion rate, is that basically the percentage of time you will win a round after getting the opening kill. And it kind of speaks to how close you're playing together and basically just how you can pull through rounds, right? How you can really make sure that you get the advantage and you keep it and you win the round. Whereas if you have a really bad conversion rate, well, you will get the opening kill, that's great, but then you'll lose 5 against 4, not so great. So good job, Soniqs. It's a statistical fact that will keep increasing. DCH now trying to get something for his money. The ping comes out red and yellow, but Yeti, he doesn't need either. He'll just get the headshot.
An Elevator struggling on the entry. You can't struggle in the final 30 seconds if you don't get there. You know, this is some Giga Brain stuff, Nick. More from Yeti, as it's Nay to be chunked away. Yeti inside of that mess hall portion of the map. The last 2 players from Elevate are above, only a doorway away from getting into the bomb site. A Dorm's defense where most of this push from Elevate has occurred on the bottom floor. And why? Because they've been trying in vain to get Yeti off of his position. The more time that Yeti wastes, the better. And now he's broken double digits as well. Soniqs have had no problem out-dueling their opponents. There goes Onigiri, Kansan down, secured, so no flawless. But a flawless isn't needed. You just have to catch Sapper and Nay when they aren't looking, and that's it for this matchup. The Soniqs know what needs to be done. And with 30 seconds left, they're using utility. Smoke's going out, covering top of white stairs, covering inside a trophy. Nay so low on HP you can sneeze on him and take him out, but instead it's Grixer with the spear to do that. A double kill for him. Sapper knows that with 20 seconds left, Elevate are down in the lower bracket. The Soniqs might have had a rough start to the series, but they dig deep and find a 5th gear that they didn't know that they had. Impressive stuff from the defending North American League champions. And finally, an NA team is able to defeat Elevate. Down against Rogue is where Elevate will go later today. The Soniqs will face off against potentially the favorite in Damwon Kia.
That's going to be an exciting matchup. I think both the Rogue Elevate will be quite interesting. Both are very explosive teams. And, I mean, Soniqs, Damwon Kia, I mean, if you're mad that Elevate, you know, they're going to send to lower bracket, then you'll have a fun time, I think, watching the next matchup that we'll be casting, actually.
We will be.
There'll be a game of 4 hours, hours in the next one. So we're 2 and 4, and next one is 3. Those are numbers. Don't listen to them. Don't follow. Math is difficult. What a series, though.
What a series indeed. If you're a fan of the Soniqs, what a series. If you're a fan of Elevate, go back to map number 2 on Clubhouse, and Elevate spent 3 rounds on match point. Then they go on to win the first round in overtime and sit on match point again for 2 more rounds. Elevate had 5 opportunities to close out this series up 1 map, and they failed to do it every single time, beating themselves and just simply being outpositioned by the Soniqs. There's a reason why the Soniqs were the best team to emerge from North America this season, and they proved it in this matchup. But the Soniqs, a victory here is a bit of a consolation prize because they do have Damwon Kia later today. The Soniqs are going to have about 2 to 3 hours to prep for that matchup. The Rogue matchup against Elevate is going to be absolutely incredible, and I'm very excited to hear what happens over there. And I'm very curious to hear what's happening over there, by the way. We actually have a spoiler for you. Plug your ears and, you know, cover your... Here's what I'll do. So you can't see my lips. Just for you. You don't have to see my lips. Here's what we're going to do. Cover your ears for the next 5-10 seconds or so. In the 3rd map, Space Station defeats Na'Vi. Another North American team manages to find it and win it. Na'Vi will go to the lower bracket. I think they're playing Dark Zero. Space Station advances in the upper bracket. We're done. It's a break. Ready just for you. We've still got 2 more matchups to go. I know that these matches have taken a while, but that's exactly what happens when you get even matched teams. We got a break ready, and then we'll be back with more of the first day here of playoffs at the 6 Invitational.